And welcome back, everybody. Billy Berserker, thank you for the follow. Hi, everybody. I'm Essie, or Aaron Spencer, your DM/storyteller for the evening's festivities, campaign, shenanigans tonight. Again, she, her, or they in a pinch, and we'll go around the table and introduce our lovely players as we return to Stormwatch. So, starting from the top, Isabits. Hi. Who are you and who are you going to be playing tonight? Shenanigans, yes.
I am Isbits. I will be playing Tara. My pronouns are she, her. Tara's are she, they. And Tara is your stone shark shifter monk.
Awesome. Thank you, Isabits. Mega Scales, thank you for the follow. And Ange, hello. Who are you and who are you going to be playing tonight?
Hello, I am Ange. I'm going to be playing Famous, your resident Oath of Redemption paladin. My pronouns she, her. Famous, she, they. Fun
Hi,
times.
everybody. Hello, new people. Thank you, Ange. And Nick. Hi, Nick. Who are you and who are you playing tonight?
Hey there, Nick or Amberthist in the chat. I'm only a little sick, but I'm playing the resident strong buddy boy with some magic, Clematis. And yeah, gonna be bringing some wild magic back into all this, so. Anyway.
It's chaotic, there's tarot cards, so we really like the wild magic, so thank you, Nick. And Avalon, Willowbloom, VO. Hi, who are you and who are you playing tonight?
Hello, I'm Avalon, she, her, or they, them, and I play Rin, the changeling bard. Mostly uses she, her, but, you know, the face changes, and so too do the pronouns as they need to. Yeah.
We stand changelings. And Jeff/Fathagan. Hello, who are you and who are you playing tonight?
Good evening. I'm Jeff, otherwise known as Fathagan, Technoclave in the chat. And this evening I'm going to be playing Simeon, who is a tiefling Battlemaster fighter, but not in the way you think.
Outstanding. And currently playing in the background is one of our music partners at ASK2. Changeling Bard is the coolest bard. Oh my gosh, it's Puffles. Hi, Puffles. And hello, everyone, to our friends, community members, and new friends who are joining us tonight for Stormwatch. So, who would like to give a little recap as best as they could? Again, everything still happened. We are changing settings here. We're in a new world. For those who don't know, there has been some changes, some things that have happened over the past couple of months with a very large TTRPG company, which has prompted a lot of channels to make some changes here and there and to explore different avenues and settings, characters, opportunities. So we have a complete change in setting. Change in setting aside, the story that we have played thus far with some background changes to the lore. Who wants to give a recap as best as they can, given that everything is still canon? Who wants to take a stab at that?
I could take a crack at that.
All right, cool. Thank you, Jeff.
I'm back to assist as needed.
Perfect. Okay.
We are the Stormwatch. We are an elite quasi-military organization here to try and break the power of one of the dwarven holds. The name is escaping me at this time. But the big idea is that there's been this long war that's been going on for forever, and we just need to finish it. And just got to get it over with. And so we're taking interesting steps, things that perhaps haven't been tried before. And thus far, we have just secured the Arcassian ruins for our little merry band, and the rest of we were the vanguard for that group, convinced the local rogues that we could help those who were living in the ruins of Arcassian, that we were on the side of right, even if things were being kind of dark, and that we were going to be marching on towards the north, where we can go ahead and bring the fight to the dwarves.
Thank you, thank you. The Dwarven Thaindom. Oh my gosh, Puffles, thank you for the subscription. Thank you for the Prime subscription. Very cool. It is the Dwarven Thaindom of Barak Tal. For those who are interested in MCDM Kingdoms in Warfare, the enemies are divided into classifications and organizations, just like the players. Just like the players at the table, your party. Our party being a martial regiment, if you've gotten the chance to flip through Kingdoms in Warfare. Martial Regiment is an organization that grants each player special perks, both individually and on the larger scale of the war. Omega Scales, thank you for the Prime sub as well. Thank you so much. Each organization gives boons and benefits and has their own party sheet where they can level up, increase their attributes as far as espionage, intrigue, communications, etc., shore up their defenses, that sort of a thing. Two tarot cards, one from Avalon and another from Nick from earlier. And again, we're sticking mostly to benefits, buffs, debuffs. So we are using the Adventurer's Tarot, since we never really heard back from the representatives at the Blue Angel Publishing via Stacey DeMarco. So still pending on that. And thank you for the bits. Hype! Lots of stuff going on. So 2 cards in the queue, and we're going to get to that in a second. We have the Barbarian and the Mystic from the Adventurer's Tarot from our friends at Weirdworks LLC. Shout out to our friends at Weirdworks LLC and to our friend Brenda. Let's see if this is weird. That works? No, it's weird words.
Those are almost too fitting for the people that pulled them.
Yes. Yeah, it really is. Tarot is weird like
Yeah.
that, and this deck has special powers, as we know. So that is the general gist of things. Thank you again, Jeff. And let's go ahead, and I'm going to change up the music a little bit. Woo! Oh my gosh. The hype train! Thank you all so much. That's fantastic. I'm going to pull another hype! I'm going to pull another card from that because of that. That's not shuffled properly, so I'm gonna do that. And now we got the Monk for Terra. Beautiful cards. Woo-woo! So 3rd card from the hype train. Benefits, buffs, debuffs here. So 3 in a row. Monk, Barbarian, Mystic. That's gonna give special benefits to the party. Gesundheit.
Me.
And we have other cards in here that can also grant things like special items, unique quests, different side quests, remnants, sort of our own version of vestiges of divergence. So Omega Scales, thank you so much. Nick, thank you so much for the hype. And Jeff, thank you so much for getting it started. And we'll switch up the music here. And we're gonna jump into some block text. Get y'all started.
Can't help it when all the bit emotes are so cute.
They are the little hearts, little dancey hearts. We also have a new music bot because, as many of you who also run Discord servers know, there was another crackdown, likely from our friends at YouTube. Friends at the YouTube corporate office. I don't know that for 100%. That's just speculation. Okay, so we're going to query something in the queue. Our other music partners, Tabletop RPG Music, I'll link them as well. a new song, a new track. And please go and send some love to our friends at ASK2 and also to our friends at Tabletop RPG Music. Wow, y'all are so awesome. Thank you for gifting the subs. More hype! Woo! Okay, let's see if we can get a benefit or something from the next card. Woo, possibly. Oh, interesting. I'll reveal that fourth one in a second from the next one. So 3 cards in the queue plus 1, which is a very interesting one. So, again, new track from our friends here. Tabletop. RPG, music, plus a secret. Oh my. Yes, send some love to our friends. And then also, we are using Roll20. And this is a map that I made myself on Incarnate. I don't want you all to see my Microsoft Word account.
Oh, no free sub?
100 years has the continent of Vaeltheria been at war, with no side truly gaining ground or favor over the other. To the north, Odror's Irregulars rebel against the crown, the Dwarven Thaindom that we mentioned earlier, vying for independence, but at the cost of scorched earth and fascistic policies and symbolism. To the south, the recently established Vas'Kratoria, or Queen's Realm, vies for control of the continent itself, while simultaneously seeking to crush dissidents opposed to the recently crowned Queen Vaelyria. In a never-ending war between radical rebels and a hereditary monarchy with expansionist ambitions. It is, of course, as in most wars, the common folk and citizenry on both sides that have become truly war and world-weary, melancholy, even hopeless, as the conflict drags on, never ceasing, never ending, ever raging. With the fatigue of war setting in to an extreme level, both sides seek to decisively end the fighting once and for all. It's the midsummer of 1134 EV, and as the royal military was planning to march through the Great Mountain Gate in the center of the White Ridge Mountains, word came from the stoic 6th Dernaith Elvish for military regiment at Savosa, the northern front sans Frostfar. The northern front itself had completely collapsed at what would later become known as the Battle of Cold Spring. A fervor never before seen in the history of the Centuries' War seemed to grip the rebellion, which now wore black armbands with a crossed forge hammer and bloodied hand axe. Odror himself, Borthon Odror, having claimed that the recent death of his firstborn son Magnus and his wife Virith was a result of a targeted assassination by the crown ordered by the queen, and not, in fact, by the ever-growing threat to both sides of the conflict, opportunistic, ambitious pirates from Verdantis, as was the crown's official statement. Indeed, eyewitnesses on both sides corroborated that a small fleet of these pirates had attempted a botched ransom shortly after sinking one of the crown's own scout sloops. In the wake of this, a renewed force of dwarves, halflings, northmen, and hobgoblins had swept through the Savosa region with an unmatched fervor and slaughtered every crown soldier and citizen they could find. Thousands of refugees fled towards the clockwork city of Frostfar, where ingenious gnomish devices of artifice kept Odror's rebels at bay. Fortunately, as described, in the fall of 1134, the citizens of Frostfar had developed the first prototype black powder cannons. In the winter of 1134 to 1135, the first black powder rifles were developed, and the first gnomish grenadiers, as well as the Wolves of the North, became a name to be feared amongst the rebels. The Wolves of the North being the regiment with which the crown recruited Themis Sunstorm. For an entire year, sea lanes from Bastion's Hold to Frostfire spurred a naval arms race, as they had been for the better part of a decade, while both sides consolidated their land holdings on opposite sides of the White Ridge Mountains. The dwarves of Iron Bellows had finally agreed to share their stores of iron and steel, as well as their fire-throwing siege weapons and vast ever-burning forges with the crown as a result of the burning and pillaging of Savosa. It is now the early spring of 1136 EV, and the crown prepares to respond in earnest with the planning of a massive, unparalleled four-pronged assault led by the spear of the Stormwatch. And it is here, as Jeff said, after claiming the forward operating post of the ancient Arcassian ruins, the ruins of New Arcos, as it was once called, that the tip of the spear sets out north by northeast to reclaim the lands that were taken from the Drow, the distant cousins of the elves of the Vas'Kratoria of the Queen's Realm, by Odror's rebels roughly 30 years ago in the midst of the conflict. Having ousted the Drow from their traditional home, their long ancient home of the Crimson Wood and of the town and hamlet of Isildale, Odror's rebels claimed this land in the name of the rebellion, ousting the Drow due to their support of the crown, ousting the Drow and sending them back into the depths of the Underdark or into the cave systems at the edge of the western White Ridge Mountains, and farther back into the deepest recesses of the Crimson Wood. Scouts and mages from the north, from Odror's rebels, even claiming the ancient Shadow Tower itself. For the past 3 decades, the Drow of the Crimson Wood and of Isildale have been planning a massive assault, waiting patiently for the crown to send aid. And as 60%, the majority of the crown's forces prepare as a feint to march through the great northern gates in the center of the White Ridge Mountains, that is merely but a feint. For the cavalry and the special forces, the elite and the Stormwatch, plan to liberate the Drow of Isildale, and with the cavalry and the Griffin Riders, the Tempest Riders, sweep through and flank Odror's rebels as the main force draws them into an open conflict to reclaim Savosa. But first, the Stormwatch must help the Drow, the cousins of the elves, the Elvish monarchy, to reclaim their ancestral homeland and to oust the usurpers from Odror's rebels, who had ousted them 30 years ago in a violent, bloody takeover, bordering on genocide. The time for vindication has come for both the crown and the elves of Elistray that dwell within the Crimson Wood. And it is here that we pick up our story. Go back to west gate of Tilberton.
You mean the ruins of New Arcos?
Yes, the ruins of New Arcos. My Roll20 map wasn't changed. or the Roll20 map description. Thank you. New Arcos.
Yeah.
Ruins of New Arcos. Westgate.
The good news is this was an original map from the beginning anyway, so...
Yes. This is from our friends over at Lore. Hype Train emotes, outstanding. This is Map Hammer. Yeah, it's our friend at Map Hammer. Longtime patron. Check them out. And I know, right? Yes. Yeah, and if you are a patron of Map Hammer, you can grab this map, which is freaking cool. Now, as the last of the as the cavalry prepares to regroup and prepare to advance behind you, the Griffin Tempest Riders screeching and soaring overhead, preparing to advance less than a 10-day behind the Stormwatch. You gather your...
received a compliment on your eye makeup.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So, as y'all prepare to depart, the cavalry and, well, both the land and air cavalry preparing to follow you shortly behind. Is there anything else you would like to do amongst the ruins of New Arcos with the rogues of New Arcos? Or with the military? The same individuals that you had met before, with a different coat of paint, prepare to see you off onto the Northern Ride. And you can see we have new official art for everything.
I don't think I have any requests. We had pretty much wrapped up everything in New Arcos before, so
Agreed.
I'm raring to go.
Awesome. Okay. Perfect.
Well, I was gonna ask if there's any special tea around here that'll decongest his nose, because his seasonal allergies are bugging him.
Oh, absolutely.
Taking lesser resto.
Eketra.
Yeah.
Eketra kind of digs through her pack and hands you a bag of spices, and she says, all right, now you mix that with some honey and some rum, but be careful because it'll knock you on your ass. Only a little bit, okay? Only a little bit.
In universe hot toddies, let's go.
He gives a very kind of like, really kind of look at that comment of it'll knock it on his ass. He thinks he can handle this pretty good, and he's gonna make an extra strong concoction because he's more worried about his sniffly nose than anything else.
As the half-orc watches you kind of raise an eyebrow, she's like, no, I'm serious. Trust me.
Druid's orders.
I mean, you can if you want, but then the rest of them are gonna have to do what you want.
Yeah, no, he's gonna make an extra strong one.
Perfect.
It's a long ride. If he screws himself up a bit, it's fine.
General Sorelia and Riviera Darkwind are the last to greet you as you prepare to depart. Riviera Darkwind being from Secrets of the Zentarum, which is a supplement that I purchased in the DM's Guild, so I'm using that supplement. So Riviera Darkwind is staying the same. We paid $20 to use the supplement. So, Riviera Darkwind, your commander, the commander of the Stormwatch. Be careful on the road. The drow of Helstal Rathir can be very dangerous, and have been known to attack anything that travels along the road that's not heavily guarded. Travelers especially. Make sure to identify yourselves as agents of the Crown.
Famous
Understood.
Famous will nod at that.
And the general, Sorelia, the new phrase, she just kind of stands to attention, salutes, and a hand over her heart. Might and majesty, Stormwatch.
Simeon will go ahead and respond to the salute to that one.
Same.
Is that the new catchphrase, Might and Majesty?
Might and majesty, yep.
Okay.
Might and majesty.
It's incredible that it hasn't changed in 300 years.
Yes, well, it's a hereditary elvish monarchy, so old traditions. Let's go to the overland map as you prepare to depart from the Arcassian ruins. Through the realm of Ulcia Terras, past the Watcher's Wood, and into the Deadlands. You have a several days journey ahead of you. Each hex is 20 miles. You have about 120 miles to go before you reach the Crimson Wood. The banner of the Queen can be used as a representation of your group's actual location. In the early morning hours in mid-spring, prepare to depart.
Do we have anybody going ahead as lookouts?
Nope.
Or are we all just going? Okay.
That's you. You are the lookouts.
We are the lookout.
That's what
Okay.
I figured. I just wanted to double check.
Yes. All right. So some tarot
So we have
cards.
to find all of the traps and make sure they're all set
Yes.
off before everyone else. finds them.
Exactly.
Fuck yeah.
All right. Tarot card pulls. Barbarian.
That's me.
Yay.
Or it could be me.
Okay. No. I like the class cards. So let's go. Let's keep it simple because we have 4 in the queue. Let's go barbarian for barbarian. So Nick.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Go ahead and roll the d4 for me.
I'm going to use my extra sharp, deadly one. That's a 2 with my nasty pointed one.
Oh, that's pretty.
It is pretty, but it's also very terrifying.
Oh, awesome. Okay, your next rage is free, and the first attack you make after you rage is an advantage.
Fuck yes.
As you are filled
Very
with
nice.
reckless abandon and a purpose, a clarity of purpose from the barbarian. Very cool.
Yeah, he
And make
he
sure to
got a
write
nice
these.
got a nice peek at Nazgûl smiling before he left.
You did. And making the tea along the road would be like a real it'd be like a real punch in the heart, I guess is the best way to describe that. Like your heart is racing and you're like, woo! If you double up. The
Ready to
rum,
beat up some stuff.
yeah. The rum brings you down, but the actual kick of the spices it's certainly something else. The next one is, we'll go in order here. We'll bring the monk up first before we do the mystic. And Tara,
Yes.
roll a d4 for me. The monk.
3.
3. You gain the blessing of fire, the blessing of Inavar, the Forge Lord, as your friend. Oh no! Don't run a scan right now. Are you kidding me? How do I? Why are you doing this? Okay, your friend, the commander of the Tempest Riders, had given you, the one that you had spent the evening with, had given you a totem before you left. The totem was a small totem of Inavar, the Forge Lord, usually depicted as a stout individual with a large beard, and if it's a totem, likely a hammer coming up from the center, kind of like holding a stoic hammer. Stop scan. Sorry, I just had to stop the background scan there for a second. Agents of the Savikarar command Commander Leaster Asterix. Again, usually a stout individual with beard, hair on both sides, sort of like a helmet, often depicted as dwarven in origin, but likely a representation of your new allies at Iron Bellows versus the dwarves of Baraktal. And that is going to give you the Blessing of Inavar. Is going to the next melee attack is going to do an additional 1d8 plus 3 fire damage. And the totem will disintegrate after you use it.
And I'm sorry, you said 1d8 plus 3 of
1d8,
fire damage?
1d8 plus 3. Yeah, you can actually choose when to use that, but when you call upon the Blessing of Inavar, the Forge Lord, that totem will disintegrate, and that attack will give you an additional 1d8 plus 3 fire damage. Inavar, again, is the Forge Lord. The Forge Lord.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
And any of the benefits that we had from the old tarot before this, do we still have them?
Yes, you do. Anything that you have written down in your inventory still exists.
Thank you.
The Mystic. Okay, so let's have Rin, Jeff, and Ange each roll a d20 for me. For the Mystic.
What? Shout out to all those 12D zeros.
18.
Lovely.
What?
Max rolls on all of them. Look at that.
19. Oh, yeah. 12 roll 12d0. Outstanding. 16. All right, Jeff, a couple things here. We're going to combine the two. A couple of things here.
Jeff,
I'm
we're
muted
actually
too.
gonna put
muted.
these
Yeah.
because we have a Wild Oracle and a Vegvisier from last time. So we're not using the tarot, but what we're going to do is we're going to combine these. We're going to do a couple of combining factors here. First things first, Jeff, you're going to get advantage on the next Arcana check. Advantage on the next Arcana check as the wisdom of the knowledge you have learned here in the ruins of old Arcos, formerly new Arcos, right? The old Arcasian ruins. The knowledge has granted you sort of a blessing of knowledge, right? So seeing all of the runes, seeing all the ancient runes of both the Arcasian people and of their representation of Istia, you feel confident maybe finding a couple of books that you were able to secret away in the tunnels below the city. You feel confident in your ability to tackle all things arcane, at least within the immediate vicinity. Now, that being said, after you add that to your inventory, we still have a wild card from the last time, a new wild card, which was the secret, and the mystic, which was the one that we just did. So we're going to combine the two to do two things. One, that's going to give you a special encounter from the tarot cards. So thank you for all of the hype trains, because I'm really excited that we get to do this. Secondly, the mystic has been resolved, but that's going to be combined with the new wild card. And as I pull up an image from the Discord, it's gonna be fun.
Making me drink, hydrate.
Hydrate or die straight. Thank you, everybody.
It's very important, especially if you're feeling ill.
Yep, that's why I have my pink lemonade.
Fire, just a wanderer.
Until my roommate gives me my tea.
I just have water in a large pink thermos cup.
At
Thank
least
you.
there's pink.
That's
My
the
purple
important part,
yeti.
really.
Oh, the gay color.
The insulation on this thing is flippin' wild, though. I can go to bed with ice water and still have ice in the morning. It's so good.
Yes. I
I
used
use
to
it for practically everything.
when I had to do FedEx during the summer when it'd be like 100, 110 outside. I would just fill the entire thing with ice, and the ice would last me all day because it was so insulated. I was like, oh, that saved my life so many days.
Okay.
The straw that it came with has like a little fin on the bottom, so I can use it to like stir coffee and stuff in there. It's real
Ooh.
nice.
See, I have a special thermos. I have a special one that I only use for coffee. Because I learned that if you use something regularly for coffee and then you try to put something else in it, did not work.
I wash this thing very frequently before I put other stuff in it. I have mostly stopped using it for coffee though because the family bought me this D&D mug for Yule.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been using that for coffee a lot, and then I use this for like water and soda.
Outstanding. All right. So, as you depart and leave the ruins of New Arcos and the rogues of New Arcos behind you, you set out north by northwest along the Deadlands Road towards the Forbidden Tower of Ulcia Taras. The road winds between the eastern edge of the Dark Forbidden Tower and the western edge of the Watcher's Wood. The first leg of your journey, if you're traveling at a normal pace, you can travel about 1 hex per day comfortably at a reasonable pace. Again, using the banner of the Queen here, which I will give control of to everyone. You should have control of that token.
1 hex a day?
Yes.
Oh gosh.
So we're looking at like 6 or 7 days to get to the Crimson Wood, assuming no difficulties.
Mm-hmm. So
At a normal pace.
Yes. 1,
Yeah.
2,
Yeah,
3.
but I mean, running ourselves
7.
ragged isn't going to do us any
Yes,
favors in the
that
war
is
effort,
true.
so I would recommend against.
And we'll say the first day is like kind of somewhere in the middle there, so in between the 2 hexes. So I'll just use the alt to bring it roughly over there. The first day's travel. I'd like someone to roll a d20, please.
I will do it. What is
I
a
roll some more
17 get me?
D0s.
What does 17 get me, madame?
A 17 will get you an uneventful day's travel.
Woohoo!
All right, so the first leg of your
But
journey.
a fence.
Yes, the first leg of your journey is uneventful. You still have the army behind you, roughly 5 to 10 days behind you. They are deferring to wait for the main host, right, the main bulk of the ground forces, the infantry, to march through the Great Northern Gate. I'm gonna put the loop back on here. Loop the track. Loop. Loop. There it is. Okay. The main leg of the infantry to come through the Great Northern Gate. Ooh. A tarot card pull from Isabeth. You. Switch back to... Ooh, okay. I'm gonna roll a d20 on that. Okay. Somebody roll 2 d100 for me. 2 d100. That'll give it an option for the evening. 73 and 10.
High and low.
Yes. And a 98 if we need it. Y'all are
You
level
got dragon?
6, right?
And other dragon. Yes.
We are level 6.
I don't know
yes.
why I'm
6,
answering.
yes.
Okay. Ooh.
Also
I don't
level
know what
6.
level. Level
And-
6.
Yeah.
But if it's 2 levels sick, it's level 6. Plural.
Oh, those are, Oh, amazing. On the first day of your travel, across the rolling plains of the Western Heartland, just at the edge of the Watcher's Wood, you see a large herd of about 9 elk. Beautiful elk grazing just at the edge of the heartlands of the rolling hills, the verdant plains, the greens and browns, and the beauty of the western edge of the Vas'Kratoria and the Vaeltherian heartland, which is also known as the breadbasket. This particular area has not been ravaged by war. The far western edges of the heartland, to the west of the Shadow Tower of to the west of Tel Pelantirith, and to the east of Ulcia Terras, just south of the Watcher's Wood, has been untouched. And it is a welcome relief, a welcome sight to all of you to see these beautiful, verdant rolling hills untouched by war, this small pocket of Vaeltheria that has not been touched. At the start of the war, the Deadlands Path, the Deadlands Road, was used by agents of the rebellion fleeing or hiding in the western edges of the Watcher's Wood, but that was within the first 2.5 to 3 decades of the war. It has since been cleared, and this area has long since been able to recover. There has not been any fighting here in the better part of 70 years. That being said, seeing this sign of life is a welcome sight, and amongst this group of stags, you see a larger one that is different than the rest. As it lifts up its head to look directly at your group, I want to have, let's see, who got the benefit on the last one?
Simeon did.
Okay, so Ange and Avalon, can y'all roll a d20 again? Each of you roll a d20.
We got another tarot.
Woo! Okay. Interestingly enough, kind of reminding you of the snows of the north, Themis, this elk is of a pure white color, and this white elk looks directly at you, and you're going to receive the blessing of the Wild Mother from a tarot card from Isabet's, the Two of Beasts. So that is advantage on the next animal handling check, and also simultaneously a secondary encounter from the other rolls that we did, in addition to another secondary encounter from the previous rolls. We had a couple things going on, but the first is this great white stag looks directly at you, and y'all see kind of this strange connection between Themis and this stag, as the elks and the stag slowly turn in the cool temperature of the early spring and slowly meander back into the western reaches of the Watcher's Wood, also known as the Wildlands, or the realm of the Wild Mother. After the elks depart back into the woods, and you all have this beautiful moment where amongst the verdant plains, the rolling green hills of the heartland that has been untouched by war, you see this large pack of elks with a very unique white elk that looks directly at Themis. As they begin to slowly walk into the woods, does anyone do anything, or do you all just kind of let these elks continue on their way?
Does she look like she's still in control of her faculties?
Yes. This doesn't seem to be a charm effect or anything.
Let her go then.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. But 2 more tarot cards, one from Omega Scales. And another. Ooh, that's going to be interesting. From Jeff. Okay, so we have 2 in the queue. One from Omega Scales. You pull the Artificer. Very pretty card here. The Artificer. And the other one, we're going to... This is from Jeff. We're going to save this for a second. So, as night falls on the first day, you're still along the road. Would you like to camp on the road in Ulcia Terrace to the west, or at the edge of the Watcher's Wood to the right? There is certainly less known activity of rebellion scouts in Ulcia Terrace. It's more of a... The woods are verdant and green, but the tower that looms above the center there is considered to be cursed and sort of extends this almost fey-like atmosphere, this fey-like mist into the rest of the forest. To the east, in the Watcher's Wood, especially in the western reaches, you know that there might be a relatively strong possibility of rebellion scouts. Or you could, as the forward operating scouts here, just camp just off the side of the road and try to find some place that might be suitable, like behind a tree or a rotting branch, a rotting downed tree, or a cluster of vegetation off the road. What would you all like to do as night begins to fall on the first day?
Well, the last time we dealt with a curse, it wasn't really much of a curse at all. So...
I've not had any
what do you
problem
say we
with
take a look
curses.
at
I mean, I
What do you
feel
say?
at home with Fae vibes, so
Yeah, there's something strangely familiar, isn't there? I say let's check out the tower. Who knows, maybe we can find the source of this curse, too. We had a day where we didn't have to spend any resources. Let's do it! That is not in character.
Simeon isn't particular one way or the other. Curses are fun. Rebellion scouts are fun too.
Is the tower actually 2 hexes away from us? 2.5?
Yes, but that would be...
I ask because that would mean like 2 days out of our way
Yes.
to actually hit the tower.
To-
So
Correct.
that
So
would
yes.
affect things.
It would. Apparently some seltzer cans just fell over, but they were closed, so that's good. The tower itself is in the appropriate hex, again, each hex being 20 miles. So it would be a little, I think, for if you're closer to the edge of the forest there, it's an entire day out of your way, but you could camp at the edge of the wood, right? So think of it kind of like Fangorn Forest. It's not dead, it's very much alive, but it has a reputation similar to Fangorn. Which is why the rebels also stay out of there.
I say let's stay in this copse of trees and deal with the Watcher's Wood during the day.
Works for me.
sounds like a plan to me.
Reasonable.
Yep.
I have a GM question.
Okay. I hope I can provide a GM answer.
Towards the end of last session, I gave my item to somebody at New Arcos to appraise and identify and all that, and I forgot about it until we already left. Did I get it back?
Yes. What was it was the brooch of...
It was...
It was the
Well,
death.
Queen's Opal.
Death Queen's Opal. Okay, very good. Very good. It is... So it was identified as the Death Queen's Opal. It has a unique ability. It is not fully activated. There seems to be additional layers of magic that seem to dwell within the Death Queen's Opal. That even those mages who attempted to identify stated that it was not fully complete. There were missing elements of emptiness. The magic that was able to be detected was that it has one very specific charge. The bearer of this amulet, whenever their HP, whenever they fail 3 death saves in any way, right? So their HP drops to 0 when they fail 3 death saves in any way. Whenever a character dies, the death opal will shatter and it will revive them. But it requires attunement, and it will prevent the amulet from being the opal. It's an amulet. It will prevent the amulet from being fully charged. So if you use this without powering up the Death Queen's opal fully, you will not get the additional effects.
Okay. In which case, we're just gonna keep it. We're just gonna keep it buried in my pouch for now, and
Okay.
see if when we get to where we're going, a different mage can give me a more detailed answer.
I will tell you that you are confident that it is beyond the capability of any of the mages here, but if you might be able to find someone beyond the scope of the queen. You haven't given up hope on that. So, but you are confident that your peers and colleagues in the Sevakora are confident that additional information is needed to all but the oldest or wisest of sages in Arcana.
Even beyond Nazgris?
Yes. Well,
What?
there is an element that, without having direct knowledge of the other parts. So think of it kind of like it is a brooch, and the central brooch is sort of like has this silver frame around it, the stylized silver frame that is sort of like the shape of like a wreath. And atop there are 3 open skulls. And in the mouth of each of the skulls, there seems to be an empty socket for 3 other gems. Right?
that's
So
scary.
this is a black opal that is in the center. And it has this very intense shimmer and sheen to it, despite it being a dark, opaque opal. And the open skulls above the wreath have the other 3 empty sockets. And what Nazgris or any of the other high tower mages or our dragons would tell you was that without the other 3 sockets, it's the actual energy here is coming up as nondescript, is that it's technically just a socket. So it's not able to be identified because the magic is not there. But they know that that once the other pieces are activated, it almost becomes a different item. And it has this magical transmutive property about it, almost this elusive and transmutive property, like nothing they had ever seen. It's very special and very unique. We're getting into like vestige of divergence territory here.
All right. In which case, it's gonna stay. I'm not gonna attune it yet,
Okay.
if at all. But we're just gonna put it. We're gonna put it away and keep all of that in mind for when we meet people outside of known loyalties.
Okay. All right. So, general consensus is y'all are camping at the edge of Ulcia Terrace, aka very similar to Fangorn Forest.
I do believe so.
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
What madness drove them in there? So as you sort of make your way into the edge of the forest, you can see from a distance it appears very green, very lush. But the closer you get, the more looming and the trees become. Like there's this largesse amongst them, and the trees themselves almost seem to sway and breathe as you enter. And there's this very thin veil of mist that kind of pervades the forest. And in the distance, you can see just the tip of the spires of Ulcia Terras itself, right? The dark tower, the shadowed sentinel, the monolith. One of the largest monoliths in Vaeltheria. Possibly Arcastian of origin, seeing as they built substantial, significant monoliths and obelisks and towers, most of which are death traps and are known to be death traps. So sort of a very traditional first D&D dungeon, right? That's kind of the stuff that New Arcos was into. You need a 10-foot pole to touch everything, that sort of thing.
Clematis is the 10-foot pole.
Yeah.
Yes.
So who would like to, and I know that some of y'all have advantage on this based on previous tarot polls, but who would like to make a survival check to try and find a somewhat safe place?
I have advantage on my next survival check, so I can do it.
Okay, all right, so...
As we were walking over, could I have played some music to provide some bardic inspiration?
Absolutely.
Okay, so yeah, as we were looking, Rin is just sort of softly strumming. Not really a marching song, kinda... It's like Skyrim overworld music. Like, it's just kind of chill vibes, you know?
I'm
Lo-fi
here for
beats
that.
to camp to.
Is that a
Lo-fi.
D8? Does that add a D6 or a D8?
I believe it's a D8. Let me double check.
Yes, bardic inspiration is... Drum roll, please.
We can Clem
It is
do
a-
a general
it is a
perception.
D8.
D8, yes, absolutely. Clem, perception?
Yeah, he just
27.
wants to
27. Good
he
God.
wants to peek around and look because this is feeling more Fey realmy than anything else
Okay.
around here. He just
All
wants
right.
to see if anything interesting is here.
Sure. All right. Clem kind of also does a perimeter sweep. Clem, go ahead and make a perception check. And Terra immediately begins to kind of take off in a beeline about a few hundred feet into the forest, kind of naturally finding this path, kind of doing a little zigzag serpentine. And you all like, okay. Clem kind of scouting around the borders. And what was your perception, Clem?
Using my tides of chaos.
Okay. To give you advantage.
18.
Okay. And that's the,
Yeah,
the
because
next.
he's very curious.
That's the next time you cast a spell, right? I can declare it.
Next time I cast a leveled spell, yep.
Perfect. Okay, all right. So when you use your Tides of Chaos to give yourself advantage, what little kind of visual quirk happens, if any? Do you have something that goes along with that?
Sure, yeah, as he is kind of looking around, the spices and extra rum have kind of perked him up a little bit, and his nose starts to twitch a little bit as he's trying to get a good smell of the area too, just sensing the magics around him. And if someone were to get a closer look at his face, there are like glitterings of magic, like little sparkling fey magics that seem to be coming from his eyes and his nose as he's, just peeking around all the trees, trying to get used to this trippy new environment that he's experiencing.
Okay, all right. And as that happens, you kind of immerse yourself in the mist, and you do just a little bit of a sneeze, like a chuk, and as your nasal passages open, and you get a big whiff of sort of the mist and the actual essence of the forest here. Go ahead and make an insight check for me at advantage because you're from the Feywild. So go ahead and make an insight check. In the meantime, Rin, you're the only one that hasn't received a benefit from a tarot card, correct?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, and unfortunately you're not playing your Artificer here, but this would default to you, but you do play an Artificer in our other Heaven's Fairy game, 220 years in the future. So the Artificer card from Omega Scales is going to go to you, so roll a d4 for me, Rin, in the meantime. Also, Clem, what'd you get for that insight roll?
I got a 6 because I drank a lot of rum.
All right, yeah. Oh boy. Well, as far as
You
perception,
got a 6 with advantage?
Yes, a 5 and a 6.
Wow.
Oh no!
yikes! In the meantime, Clem, as far as you kind of, it's strange, it's unusual, it's foreign, it's alien. You can't quite put your finger on it, but there is something wrong. And by wrong, I mean out of place about this forest. It could be Fey influence. You've seen that sort of rolling mist, but if it is, it's no Fey that you've ever encountered before, unfortunately. Rin, what'd you get for your D20, your D4?
I got a 4.
Okay.
Did you see that? Did you see her eyes go wide?
Yeah.
What'd it do? What'd it do?
You'll see.
Okay, all right.
Or maybe
so
I won't. Who knows?
as you are all kind of following Terra, you come across this perfect clearing about 500 to 600 feet, and again that was a Terra pull from Omega Scale, so thank you Omega Scales. About 500 or 600 feet into the forest, you find this perfect clearing that is perfectly hidden from the road, and Terra, you feel very proud of yourself as you come to the center of the clearing. What do you do as you kind of find this absolutely perfect spot?
Tara is extremely proud of herself. Survival is not necessarily one of her strong suits. So the fact that she was able to find this perfect clearing, she's incredibly proud of herself, and she's just kind of calling out to everybody, "Hey, come on! Look! We can camp here. It's nice. It's clear. We're far enough from the road that nobody can find us, but we can still hear if people are coming by." She's very excited.
And
Final Fantasy victory music plays.
you all, you all kind of figure out why she's so excited, as you can see this perfect, beautiful clearing in the center of this verdant grove, and there are little fireflies that start to buzz around, and as the sun sets, there's this perfect gap in the canopy here amongst this little verdant veil where the moonlight kind of starts to shine through ever so perfectly.
Can we just stay here forever?
It is very
We do
beautiful.
have a job to do. Does this area happen to be rimmed by a line of mushrooms, perhaps?
There are some what appear to be edible mushrooms that have sort of like a very robust looking brown cap to them, brown and white cap, kind of reminiscent of something y'all may have seen before, but a very specific type of mushroom, very thick, robust, very meaty, that sort of lines different areas of this grove. So potential dinner here as well.
Well,
Would Thamus have been in this general area before?
Spending most of your time in the north, I would say likely not, because again, based on the recap, Thamus had spent several years, up in Frostfar with the Winter Wolves and the 6th Legion, the 6th Sixth Army, and the 6th Deernaith, and the 1st Gnomish Grenadiers. So having spent time with the 6th Deernaith, the 1st Gnomish Grenadiers, better part of a decade probably, based on your service record, 4 to 6 years plus. It's very rare that most citizens of the Vas'Kratoria, or of the Seva Korar, as it is at this time, kind of tend to avoid the Deadlands Road and the woods by Ulcia Terrace. Tel Pelantirith, where you started, aka the previous Darkhold, right? Tel Pelantirith is the far tower, the watchtower. Tel Pelantirith is kind of like the border of the lands. So it's kind of unlikely.
Have I ever come across any stories about... Hold on, I need to move the token because I can't see it.
Yeah.
I can't move the token. This place, have I heard of any stories of it, either historical or folkloric?
Make a history check. And also, I'm getting a little bit of an echo from somebody. I don't know who it is, but make sure to check your PTTs, your push to talks, just because we got a little... It's coming from Avalon, too, so I think maybe somebody's setup might be echoing a little bit. I think we fixed it. Okay, we're good. We're good. Thank you. History check, please, and thank you for checking the PTT. And history check. Also, did I skip anybody? Is anybody waiting for a pending something?
No, I'm just thinking.
I was at 13 on that history check.
Clem is going to go to a tree and start to carve.
Okay. Clem.
Carve something. Carve something into the tree. Like he's trying to mark it.
Also, by the way, with your previous 18 perception, Clem, you are confident that there is, at least right now, nothing dangerous that is encroaching upon you. It is safe to set up camp, at least. Nobody lurking in the trees, nobody lurking in the shadows, no rebels, no strange wizards or anything like that.
Yay!
Yes, so, but the nature of this, based on your 6 insight, is kind of unique and alien to you as you come up and start carving into a tree. Okay, bedroll on that edge. Okay, so the road is actually, Simeon, the road is about 600 feet from where you are. Are you sleeping a little bit away from the group as like a forward scout?
More just like in the clearing, but on the road side of the clearing.
Gotcha. Perfect. Okay, cool. All right, and 13 history. Yes, you know that that Ulcia terrace, it's said that that this tower is older than even the Arcassian Empire, which was, at this point, 1100 years ago, right? The fall of the Arcassian Empire was 1100 years ago. The Shadow Tower predates the Arcassian Empire. Exactly by how many years is unknown. The outside looks to be covered in moss and is made of sort of this polished obsidian that has weathered all kinds of natural disasters and the passage of time.
Does it look similar to the obelisk that I found in the tunnels?
It has enough of a difference. It doesn't look.
Okay, so I don't
they look
suspect that
distinct.
they're related.
Correct. Yeah, you're not
Okay,
getting
that makes
that vibe. Though you have. There are stories of ancient old ones that existed before the time of the gods that were wiped out by a global catastrophe. This ancient race of old gods that was hit by some natural disaster that caused them to be erased from existence. The gods themselves were said to have found evidence of their existence here, but this seems like something different. You have a thought, you're like, oh, what? And you're like, no, I don't think they have a distinctive feeling.
Right, I get you.
There is an old folkloric tale though about a sorceress who built the tower several thousand years before the rise of the Arcassian Empire. It was sort of an old sagely woman. It was sort of like a beacon of this anarchistic sort of independent city-state society that existed before the rise of the Arcassian Empire, and that she was sort of like a sage that sort of oversaw these collective city-states or these townships. But any more information than that kind of escapes you. But the last resident seems to be this old sage. Yeah.
All right.
Famous is gonna suggest, as we're all getting kind of set up,
Mhm.
for the night, Thamus is going to suggest we set up set up an order for watch.
I'm happy to take first watch.
Simeon will take middle watch, or a middle watch, depending on how many we break it into.
Just wake me up when you want me to do watch. I don't care when.
Fair enough.
Okay, so who's on first again?
Rin.
Rin, okay.
Rin is.
All right, and just Rin? No wrong answer.
That's a darn good question. Do we want to do this do we want to do this in pairs, or?
We can. I mean, we could even stagger them. Ren could be on watch for like the first part of it, and then somebody can join her, and we can kind of stagger the watches that
Stagger
way.
and overlap. Yeah, okay.
Doesn't make a huge difference to me, whatever we want to do.
Same. Just didn't want to ignore that.
Okay, so from the Artificer, I need to get my other notebook. So give me 1 second. This is from your tarot card pull from before, but I need a different notebook for this. Hey, Ben, roll a d20 for me, please.
That's an 18.
All right. Oh, this is going to be interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
It is always fun when the DM has to go and get the other notebook.
I'm hoping for 18 of those little minion bots from Megamind.
What? Oh, I was gonna think like 18 Modrons.
I love the Modrons. They're so goofy. I want to use them so bad.
With an 18, I'm not going to tell you why, but you have the option. 18 gives you the option to roll again if you want, or you can stick with the 18.
Let's play deal or no deal.
18, 19, 20 gives you the option to re-roll or to keep the 18, 19, 20.
I don't know what I'm rolling for. I'm gonna go ahead and keep it.
Okay, all right. As you are setting up for the evening, setting up your bed rolls, some of y'all are taking watch, are preparing to take second or third watch. Rin by themselves, right?
Yeah.
What we established? Okay.
She's gonna find a sturdy-looking tree branch and just sit above the group if she can.
Okay.
I think Clem would just be wandering around in general. Maybe not within Rin's vicinity, but at least up.
There is no benefit, or there is no detriment to failure. But go ahead and roll an athletics check. Athletics or acrobatics for me, your choice, as you try to clamber up a tree. The only downside will be possible embarrassment for people that haven't fallen asleep yet.
Okay, well that's a natural 2 on the dice.
Okay.
For a total of 6.
Okay, so Ren kind of spends the better part of the next 20 minutes trying to clamber up a tree. Possibly the same tree that Clem had drawn a crude bunny face into. That you kind of notice on your way down. You kind of look face to face with this crude bunny face and just kind of, oh, I guess that's what Clem was etching into the tree. And for another 20 minutes, you're trying, and you're kind of like having a moment where you look up at the tree and you're just, oh geez, and you can't really, the trees here aren't really meant for climbing. They're like they're old and gnarled in a way that you can't really get a good position. They're kind of slippery. They have this mossy sheen to them, and there's also some sap, and you're like, ugh. And it's really hard to climb. But after about 20 minutes, you kind of look back up at it, and you kind of take a few steps back, and the back of your heel bumps into something.
I think as she's backing up, Rin is swinging the loot around,
This loot.
like she's gonna try to cast a spell.
Okay.
And
Tree goop,
as
yes.
as her foot hits the thing, she will stop and look at it, see what it is.
Okay. So you kind of see just the very tip of something in the dirt, and it seems to be sort of like this. It's covered in dirt and grime, but it seems to be sort of like a shiny, sort of steely color, sort of steel pale blue, perhaps. Just like the tip of something, sort of pointed.
She'll snap her fingers, and Merlin will sort of like curl, like he'll snap into existence, curl around her arm and into the ground, and sort of help her dig it out.
Okay, so Merlin is what kind of a familiar again?
A weasel.
Weasel, okay,
Weasel.
so yes, the weasel could, and immediately starts digging in the ground, and after a couple of minutes you see what ends up being this very dirty, very grimy, old sort of triangular plate that seems to have these...
It really is first one's tech.
It seems to have these, no, it's sort of like steel, and the central, the side panels have like these very strange foreign runes. Think of the runes on Shira's sword. Kind of, yeah, really is first one's tech. Very reminiscent of first one's tech, and it has this pale blue finish to it on the inside. Sort of a steel frame and this sort of pale blue finish that is covered in centuries of dirt.
So I think Rin will give up on trying to climb the tree. She'll sit down with her back to the tree, leaning against the old gnarled tree, and spend a few minutes with prestidigitation, just cleaning off the thing she found.
Okay.
And just start taking her watch as she works on that. I have several things that I would like to do during my watch, and I'm sorry for it, but yeah.
That's okay. What would you like to do during your watch?
So, I need to ritual cast Identify a couple of times.
Okay.
For the thing that I just found, and for the obelisk that was found in the tunnels.
Okay.
I took Identify at level 6. And then after that, I want to do a couple of sendings. One to my dad, and one to Ginny.
Okay.
Her name is still Ginny, yes?
Yes.
She was an OC?
Yes, Ginny Faye. She was an OC.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so two things. The obelisk is, first and foremost, the obelisk is the obelisk. It is the obelisk of blades. And it allows telepathic communication with the mistress of blades. And you can use it as a sending stone to communicate with this mistron or matron of blades, whoever that may be. But now that you have identified it, as soon as you finished casting Identify, there are like these, the runes glow this dull purple when they kind of
I actually have flavor for how she'd do that.
Okay.
So Rin sets up the obelisk just on a flat stone or something, and gently, very, very gently runs her fingers over the surface. As she's doing that, she sort of like sings different notes, different octaves, just up and down scales, until she feels the surface vibrate slightly. And once she does, she just sort of holds that note and just tries to channel her magic to match the frequency of the object to unlock its secrets, as it were.
Okay. And the rest of you kind of have this very strange sort of lucid dreams, or sort of whether you're dreaming or for those that are light sleepers, can hear Ren kind of humming and kind of to this obelisk against the tree, and it kind of resonates with her frequencies and has this sort of dull purple thrum to it. It's very disconcerting for the rest of you. But towards at the end of that, after about 10 minutes, is when you kind of, it clicks, where you believe that if you kind of speak into this in sort of a melodic way, like you have been, that you can at least send messages to whatever you are confident that whatever is on the other end of this obelisk will hear you. It also is one of 8. You know that it is one of 8.
A collector's item.
Yes. One of 8 obelisks. This is the obelisk of blades.
I have to gather this magic now. Sorry. Okay, cool. I will adjust notes on my character sheet and such.
Okay.
Yeah, same routine with the object she found in the dirt. Same process, but different frequencies, obviously, because different object, but yeah.
Okay, another 10 minutes of sort of humming from Ren against the tree. For some of you, for the first one, it was kind of a disconcerting sound, especially because the obelisk was glowing and humming back. This one is much more gentle. And for those that were on the edge of sleep, the song itself changes from something that is confusing and disconcerting to something that has a very calming, soothing effect to it. A couple things here. And a lot of this is my own DM flavor. The object itself, like the brooch of the Queen of Death, right? In that same fashion, there is magical residue, right? It seems like it was once a magical item, but it is not complete. What you do figure out from your identify is that there is a base and 4 other panels that click into the base, and you can close them to. I'm sorry. A pyramid that opens up is 4 sides. Yeah. So it has 4. It's a pyramid. There's 4 sides to the pyramid, and then the base of the pyramid, the square. The base and the other 3 sides are lost, but if you find all 4 pieces, which is why I give people the option to re-roll, because rather it's sort of a very specific sort of lore item. So, but it's pretty cool. I like this item a lot.
Well, the good news is Ren is a lore bard, so
yes. Okay, perfect. So that works out perfectly.
What can I call this thing for the purpose of notes?
It is. I'm trying to think of what we had called it. It is a fragment of a sentinel. It's a sentinel fragment. Not like X-Men, but it's hard to describe. It is sort of like it will have a different name once it's complete, but the idea that you're getting is that the same word keeps coming into your mind, sort of watcher, guardian, sentinel, message, that it contains some kind of message or fragment that is connected to this guardian or watcher or observer or sentinel something that has to do with sort of observing this world, and it is a fragment of whatever this watcher or observer is. And once it's complete, you believe that it will contain some invaluable information or message or code, or something that you know to be very important in general. And it does have an element of divine magic to it too. It is sort of a combination of artifice and divine magic rolled into one. It seems to be very mechanical in nature, which is something you get from identifying it, but also has this element of divine magic about it.
Would I, and I totally understand because this is outside the purview of the spell, but would I have the impression that this is Arcassian in origin, or that it is more in line with whoever made this tower?
Make an Arcana check for me.
Sure. Could I possibly have advantage because of the sage background somehow?
Does the sage background give you advantage on Arcana checks?
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
By the rules as written, no, it does not. But I rolled a natural 1 and I don't want to, so...
Unfortunately, without a specific mechanic or tarot card advantage, it kind of eludes you at the time. Could be...
Oh, wait, hold on, I have DM Inspiration.
Ah, okay, cool.
Total 19.
Okay, 19. You get the feeling, and your kind of heart skips a beat, maybe with excitement or apprehension, but this is clearly something unique. That is doesn't seem to be... It may have at some point been inside of Ulcia Terras, but right now it is... You found it at the edge of the outskirts of the woods of Ulcia Terras, sorry, of the surrounding wooded area. So both the tower and the woods that surround it is all known as the same region, right? So the whole region is just Ulcia Terras. But it was found at the very edges, and it seems to be entirely unique. Likely not Arcassian, but definitely something that seems completely unique.
Fantastic.
You do get the sense that you've seen similar etchings when used in very, very old cave paintings and other ancient tablets that refer to the gods with this sort of constellation-like imagery. You have such lights to show you.
Fantastic.
Okay, sending to your dad.
Yeah, well, which would you prefer doing first? Ginny or
let's do your dad first.
Jacob? Okay. Give me a moment.
Yep, okay. Just make sure you're subtracting your spell slots appropriately, because you still haven't completed a long rest yet.
Yep, I will. Okay, so just a quick check-in to make sure I'm not misremembering anything. We decided, because of the change in setting, obviously a lot of backstory stuff changed as well.
Yep.
That Rin's dad is currently with Trick, a friend of the family that essentially helped him break out of Odror's prison, right?
I think what we had established was that is a possibility, but we know what I'm going to do is I'm going to retcon that you haven't actually made contact because it was a different story. So if you wanted to officially have that moment where you make contact now, because we made some changes, that's what we can do.
Okay, sure. Yeah, no, that's fine.
Because but there were some changes that went along with the whole different. I had a couple of ideas, but I think we had talked about the possibility of Trick having rendezvoused with him, or maybe you thinking or hoping that Trick could potentially give you some more information, but kind of finally gathering the courage to send that message because you haven't heard from your father in some time. I think this is a good opportunity to do that. Or we can say that you had attempted to make contact and there was no response, so you're trying again now.
No, that's fine. Can I possibly have like 30 seconds to reword the message?
Absolutely.
Because I was
Yep.
operating under a different
Yeah,
assumption.
yeah, go
Please,
ahead.
I am so sorry that I'm like taking all the time.
Everyone is sleepy beans in the meantime. Who's taking second watch again?
I don't think we ever settled on any order. I don't think anyone else even necessarily cared beyond a tell me when I'm going.
Well, Simeon was interested in taking a middle watch, but I didn't know how many we
Okay.
were going to divide into, so it was like, it sounded like it was going to be
Usually.
Ren and Thamus first, and then Simeon and Terra second, it sounded like. But I don't know if that's, gospel there.
Well, Thamus, are you on first watch as well, or is it just Ren?
You know, sure, we'll say that, and basically Thamus would just have her shield up and kind of doing a perimeter walk.
Okay, all right. So
Classic military style, because some things you can't unlearn.
perfect. Well, Thamus, you see Ren take 20 minutes to kind of sing to these two objects in the meantime during your perimeter. So do you react to that at all?
Outside of acknowledging that Rin is doing caster things and not in any danger, nope.
Okay, all right. So perception check from Thamus as Ren is doing the identification and some communication, some correspondence. So perception check from Thamus.
This is gonna be garbage.
When you're ready, I have reworked things.
Okay.
Sorry, I was trying to make sure it was actually 25 words.
As a perception of 7.
What's your passive? Because it's going to default to your passive as you're on a perpetual watch for several hours.
Passive is not much better. 11.
11. Okay. All right. So it's going to default to 11 because you're on a regular watch.
Okay.
But otherwise, you don't see anything. It seems to be very quiet. Rin, go ahead with that message to your father, who last known whereabouts about a year and a half ago in Savosa after it was sacked by Odror's rebellion.
Yeah, and he was assumed to be a spy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Dad, it's Rin. Are you okay? Where are you now? I'm safe in the south currently. Can you meet me somewhere? Only 25 words response.
There's sort of a long pause, probably about a minute and a half, 2 minutes or so, like there was last time. And then, having changed up the story again, having changed up personalities and cities and towns, you kind of hear a response, knowing that he was sort of recruited was very patriotic, was recruited as sort of someone who could double as a spy, and had been working with the local constabulary and with the Order of the Blazing Shield. You hear a response, and that's just... Rin? Seemingly in distress, as he does not seem to have acknowledged or fully comprehended the 25 words or less. Rin, he says it twice. They killed everyone. They burned everything. They dragged half of us back to Barak Tal. Tortured us. Killed and it cuts off.
Rin frowns deeply at that. And so Thamus would probably notice a new look for Rin. Anger. She looks angry at whatever she just heard. She sort of looks at the ground for a second with the frown, and then just shakes her head and continues with the next thing that she wanted to do. Give me just a sec. sweet. I actually have 3 of those slots. Sorry. Second sending to Ginny.
Okay. Ginny Fey, our favorite leader of the Rogues Guild of
Yes.
New Arcos.
Just to double check on that, basically everything that happened, right? Like her personality is still the same and stuff?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Hey,
it's... Oh, sorry.
No, I was going to say Tilberton and the Arcassian Ruins are kind of like a one-off that is, unique, so.
Sure. Hey, it's Rain. Checking in to see how things are progressing after we left. Don't let anyone push you around. 25 words only for messages.
Okay. Kind of a very quick response. Oh, yeah. Well, doesn't count as a word. The military's kind of throwing their weight around. But true to your word, they're repairing all the infrastructure. Construction projects underway. And rum.
That's what's really important.
Yes. And you know that the Tempest Riders and the Outriders, the cavalry regiments have sort of this old tradition of sharing rum.
Cool. All right. That brings a soft smile. But after that, Rin will just start pacing around the camp a little bit and just sort of trying to keep watch with the rest of the time after spending like half an hour doing all that stuff.
Okay. All right, awesome. First watch passes without incident. You trade off to...
Once Rin is done with the rituals and casting, Thamus will actually just kind of come over, make sure you're okay, and just leave it as, if there's anything you'd like to talk about, I will happily listen.
I'm not sure how to talk about it yet. Do we know, in universe, have we been told, aside from what Rin knows, that Savosa has burned? Like, is that common knowledge?
Yep. So, this was about... So, in midsummer of 1134, Savosa was sacked entirely. It's common knowledge. And it was allegedly in response to a very public ransom and kidnapping attempt from pirates of Redantis Isle, right? An isle just about 20 miles southeast off the coast of where Bastion's Hold is. You know that there has been a group of pirates that had been operating there about 2 decades after the war started. Kind of opportunistic, and about 4 decades into the conflict, they started harassing and harrying both sides. Now, in the spring of 1134, a ship, a royal ship, a sloop, a scout ship, had been sunk by a small fleet of about 5 of these. They would call themselves the Viridian pirates, right, or just the Viridian Alliance, or the Viridian Concierge sometimes. But the Viridian Alliance had sunk this royal sloop, sailed north by northwest along the western coast of Vaeltheria, where they then intercepted a ship off the coast of Baraktal, which is all Odror's territory, that was carrying his wife and his son, who was about 19 at the time, from Isildale to the western reaches of Baraktal, where there is a large harbor just on the western edge of the snow-covered forest there that connects to sort of the rear entrance of the mountain fortress. The pirates had boarded the ship, and in the process of this sort of botched ransom attempt, his wife and his son were killed. Now, he claims that this is a false flag operation and has said that it was the crown that was behind it all along. And the rebels seem to have embraced this, and it's their new battle cry. Shortly thereafter, in midsummer, was when they unleashed, after sort of spending the past 3 decades building up their forces, it unleashed this new massive assault, this renewed assault, and swept like wildfire through the central region of Savosa, the Savosa region, sort of slaughtering everyone in their path. And the battle cry has been for Virith or for Magnus. And Odror claims he has proof that it is a false flag operation. But there's doubt on both sides, as even individuals, merchant mariners from Isildale, many people claimed and have seen and confirmed the validity. The pirates were chased off shortly thereafter, 2 of the ships making it back to Verdantis Isle, 3 of them being sunk by Odror's fleet in response.
Okay. So, I don't recall if I've said this, but I'm originally from Savosa. And when it was raised, my father was taken because they believed he was a spy, and I managed to run. I've just found out that he is going through hell in Baraktal. And I'm not sure what to do with the information yet.
That is a decision only you can make.
You're right.
Whatever you decide to do, I'll have your back.
I appreciate that. I think right now the only thing I can do is just keep doing what we're doing. Just stay with the group and keep serving the crown, as it were.
And Thamus, you know exactly how vicious this assault was. You're the only reason that the entirety of the North was not conquered. They attacked Savosa and made their way up to Frostfar with such vitriol, like nothing you had ever seen. But the Winter Wolves, the 6 Deer Nath, and the 1st Gnomish Grenadiers, you had an advantage. You had cannons, prototypes, which you unleashed for the first time. Cannons, mortars, and prototype black powder rifles. It was a resounding victory at the 4th Battle of Hillsfar. There had been 3 previous battles, each time just barely holding.
Savosa?
Battle of Frostfar. So it was the 4th Battle of Frostfar, and it only lasted 2 nights, because the cannons, the mortars, and the black powder rifles had sent them scurrying back. But there was such a vitriol in the faces and the battle cries that it was sort of like fighting against this unrivaled ferocity that you had never seen in any of the previous battles at Frostfar. Something was different about the fervor of Odror's rebels. But again, with your 12 prototype cannons, your 3 mortars, and your 24 black powder rifles, you very easily made quick work of them. The cannons by themselves were devastating enough, as were the mortars.
Being up north, At Hillsfar, I saw a lot.
Frostfar, sorry.
At Frostfar,
I know, it's confusing for all of us. I said Tilverton earlier.
I saw a lot, and those rebels. I've never seen anything like that. And I may never again. It was very much an intense battle when they attacked.
I'm sorry you experienced that.
I'm sorry you lost your home. And I'm glad your father's alive.
Yeah, me too. It's... I don't know, it's... He always wanted me to try to be kind. To be considerate and to try to see the good in everything. But it feels like there's so much brutality and cruelty in this fucking war. And I don't know what to do with it.
We put an end to the war.
I guess that's what our purpose is, isn't it?
I've made my peace with the brutality and subsequently just tried to minimize the devastation as best
There's
I
a lot
can.
of irony. There's a lot of irony in that sentence. You've made peace with the brutality and the devastation. Sorry.
Unintentional too. When I made a choice to join the military because that was the best of my options then. Little did I know then what I would do, what this war would turn into.
I joined the Crown for safety. I'm barely of age. If it weren't for fearing for my own safety, I don't think I'd be a part of this. I think I'd have tried to stay home and help my father as much as I could, but that's it. I don't think I would be here if it weren't for the sacking of Savosa.
Well, regardless of the reasons, I can honestly say I'm proud to call you part of our team.
There's this sort of soft smile. I appreciate that, and I'm proud to call each of you a friend and a partner in all of this.
Indeed.
Okay.
Shout out to
Awesome.
the Hamilton blanket. I'm sorry, that's not
Yeah,
related.
no.
But shout out to Husky's
Agreed.
Hamilton blanket.
Yes. Oh wow, really? That's
Agreed.
amazing. Hey babe, Hamilton blanket. Sorry, my partner just walked in, and we're both Hamilton fans, so very cool.
I was lucky enough to get to see it on stage a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, same. Did you go to Boston?
Yes,
We might have been at the same show. We'll have to talk after. Yeah.
agreed.
Okay. So, second watch. Who's taking second watch?
I think Tara and Simeon.
Sounds right.
And
Is the night being split into 3 or 4 watches?
3, I think.
Because I think that'll.
I
3,
usually do
okay.
3. Yeah. Okay. All right. So
Nice.
Tara and Simeon, after about 3.5 hours or so, 3 hours, you are roused. Rin and Thamus get the chance to retire for the evening. And Tara and Simeon, it is now your watch. Anything specific that the two of you would like to do, or say on your watch?
Not for Tara.
No, I think Simeon is going to sort of, just while he is going on patrol, will stop and sort of sketch and work on the design that he's thinking about for his tattoo. But otherwise, not much anything in particular.
Okay, perfect. So either you can each make perception checks, or one of you can make a perception check at advantage for the evening.
I would like to use my inspiration.
Okay, so was that an individual roll?
As an individual roll.
Okay,
yeah.
all right. So Tara, go ahead and roll perception as well.
Hopefully Tara
11.
sees it.
11. What are your passives?
Simeon's passive is 16,
12.
but he rolled as 8.
Okay, 8. And what was your passive again, Tara?
12.
12. Okay, both 12. Okay. Oh boy. Okay. So you both have this moment where you're kind of walking around the perimeter, and you kind of, it's been about an hour and a half into your watch, and you both have a minute where you kind of reconvene after kind of meeting in the center, and both kind of nod at each other, and then you're kind of standing face to face at the edge of this clearing, and you can hear just sort of at the edge of your periphery, just kind of like this loud sort of breathing and sniffing.
Simeon will turn to where he thinks the sound is coming from.
Okay.
And will sort of sneak over.
There, as soon as you turn, because your passives are not high enough, you see a sort of a shape just at the edge of the tree line, about 5 or 10 feet from you. And it rears up on its hind legs and just... And there is a very large brown grizzly bear that is just kind of at the edge of the forest. What are the rest of your passive perceptions?
Jack squat.
I think mine is 11. Let me double.
Okay, yeah, Brenna's like
11.
okay.
I seem to remember that Simeon was the most perceptive of the entire crew with the 16. So
Wow, I actually have a
It's-
it's what's past
13.
everybody else.
Rin's is 12.
surprise.
My apologies.
Rin and Themis are both snoring, but Clem, you kind of you hear something, and you kind of and like this kind of low rumbling.
Just slowly wake up, still a little drunk on the rum.
Yeah. There is a very large grizzly bear on its hind legs, kind of growling and snarling at Tara and Simeon. Tara, Simeon, what do y'all do?
Should I punch it?
Yeah, Simeon wants to make an animal handling check to see if he has the wherewithal to know, are we supposed to be big
Okay.
to scare off a bear, or do you run away from bears?
Famous.
Monks do one
You
thing.
have the animal handling advantage, right? From the
Yep.
jeez. Your passive perception's 11. All right, Famous and Ren, both of you make perception checks as Clem kind of just shakes himself awake. Just
Well, it was a natural 4. It was a natural 4 on the dice.
okay.
For a total of 6.
Rin keeps snoring.
And I
Thamus.
rolled a 2.
Rin and Thamus just roll over. Face the other direction. Simeon, go ahead and make an animal handling check for me. This is from the other tarot card from a while ago. The Beast. It is. Ooh, okay. All right, 19. This is not yet a combat encounter. With a 19, dirty 19, which is a natural, natural 19. Okay, that's pretty damn good. You're pretty confident that you've read several field manuals at some point that say you're supposed to make yourself big and aggressive when there are bears.
Big and aggressive. I mean, I could be a shark.
Yeah, Simeon says, big and aggressive, big and aggressive.
Tara will immediately shapeshift into her big shark form.
Okay, Tara just... Okay, and at this point, Thamus and Ren, you both wake up, and Tara lets out a shout, and the rock shark form, just kind of emerges, and you make yourself large, and you're standing eye to eye with this thing, and you just kind of... Right? Go ahead and make an intimidation check at advantage. Because A, you did the right thing, and B, you're very large.
Lord.
I got a natural 20!
Oh,
Hey.
shit! Hey, natural 20! Okay, so as you kind of just... how do you do this with style? Tell me how you, like, what do? Do you slam your fists together? Do you stomp on the ground? Because this thing just...
So Tara shifts, and she has that, like, rage-fueled adrenaline, and she kind of, like, as she's shifting, she kind of jumps up in front of it and lands and kind of slams her fists together and just kind of growls at it.
Okay, all right, as you do the... and kind of growl at this thing, it just... and kind of turns its torso, drops back down on all fours, and just books it. Just runs the other direction, crashing through the forest. The other two of you wake up as you hear the crashing sound through the forest and hear Tara kind of like stomp and crack her fists together and roar. You both kind of wake yourselves up at this point, and you can hear the crashing.
Do we still have to worry about her losing control? Is that a thing that can still happen with the like full shark form?
What does it say in your notes?
Every time I shift, I have to roll. I think it's a Constitution
Yeah.
saving.
Okay.
Do it.
To fight off bloodlust. But because last time I succumbed to it, is it like once I succumb to it, am I like immune to it from now on, or is it still?
Nah.
No, I would say make a con. Yeah, just go ahead and make the con save. The DC is going to be
Chaos.
lower because you're not actually fighting something. It's just kind of intimidation. So the DC is going to be a little lower.
I think-
Please be super
I
low
think
roll.
as Rin comes to, she sort of scrabbles out of her bedroll and like slides back, sitting up. What'd it do? What was the roll?
I went from a natural 20 to a natural 1.
Oh.
Hell yeah!
I knew it.
I knew I was too confident about us not spending resources.
So that's a total of a 4.
Tara, just as you...
Hi, Simeon.
I do have DM inspiration, so I can technically re-roll that unless you want the chaos.
No, I'll just say in the process of doing that, like rather than have your roll initiative, you just kind of go, "Yeah!" and you turn and just punch Simeon square in the chest. Okay, so make an unarmed strike against Simeon's AC.
Don't forget about that blessing of Inavar.
And
You don't have to
choose
use
when to
that.
use
Yeah,
that.
yeah. You
And
not
now
gonna use that.
here's the question.
yes.
How far away, like, for purposes of spellcasting and healing bullshit, how far away are we all from each other?
I would say you're about 20 feet away from the edge
That's
of
a
the
very
clearing.
good question. Because I rolled a
Yeah.
26.
Simeon, okay. Simeon, do you have any way to avoid a 26 monk unarmed strike?
If I would be dueling at this point in time, I could try using superiority die, but since my AC is 18, I know I can hit.
Okay, so Tara just cracks Simeon right in the chest. Simeon kind of gets knocked off of his feet, just for flavor. You can get back up. Kind of just, kind of like the Hulk at the end of when the Hulk just kind of does the lateral punch in the GIF with type of thing. Go ahead and roll damage on the monk unarmed strike.
I rolled max damage, so it's 9.
Jesus. 9 damage. Now you can make another, because it wasn't a combat situation. You're just kind of in a bloodlust hype type of thing. You can make another con save at advantage this time.
As she
I
punches
rolled a
Flame-
natural one again, but I got a 12, so it's 15.
Okay, all right. So you kind of have this moment where you're like about to square up and start hulking out, but at the last second, after you see Simeon kind of like kind of get knocked onto his backside and kind of start the process of getting back up as if to fight, you have a second where you have that clarity. But Simeon, do you respond? As you can see, there's a second there where you can see she's starting to back off just a little bit, like kind of trying to shake off whatever it is. Do you respond?
Yeah, the problem is, she started it. He was gonna kick flip back up again and jump back in.
You can. It won't affect the roll, but you can absolutely respond if you would like.
Yeah, he was gonna pop back up, and then as part of that motion, draw his blade, and then start his fancy footwork.
Okay.
To make sure she doesn't pop him again.
I'm gonna come up. Thamus is gonna come up, and basically come up behind you, Simeon, and Shield of Faith, just in case.
Okay.
Boost your AC by 2.
Yep. Yeah, we're not actually in initiative, so yeah, you can all kind of jump in.
I don't know if this will do anything,
Mm-hmm.
but I still have 1 3rd-level spell left. Can I cast Dispel Magic on Terra?
That wouldn't. I'm gonna say that I don't think that would work.
Would I know that it wouldn't work?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's more of a natural thing rather than a magical effect.
Okay.
I'm gonna stand
I will
up
give some...
and encourage Terra to maintain control.
Sun's getting real low, lady.
The sun's getting real low. Yep.
Sun's getting real low, giant woman.
I'm gonna fully make myself vulnerable and open my arms like I'm about to give a big hug and just be like, just the most comforting pose possible.
We need a Steven Universe moment for whenever Terra transforms into the giant shark woman. So like, there's always one person that's like, giant woman. It's me. It's me out of character. But
can I give Bardic Inspiration to Simeon?
Yes. Clem also comes up and tries to be like, hey, and to sort of calm Terra down. And Terra, with everything, with the 15, you did pass. You see the chaos. You can kind of revert your forms. As Simeon is kind of doing the fancy footwork, Thamus runs over and kind of just stumbles out of bed and just kind of stumbles over herself to cast Shield of Faith. You see a little sort of golden flash of light, and you see Rin kind of grabbing the loot and trying to do something, and Clem running over and be like, oh, hey. And Simeon kind of being like, you want to go? Like, but you have a moment where you can, yeah.
As she starts coming back down, she just kind of looks at everybody and says, the bear's gone, it's safe now. Like, nothing happened.
Okay.
Wait, there was a bear?
Yeah, there was a big, that's why I, like, hulked out.
We'd rather fight the bear than you.
Oh,
It was
sorry.
very effective, but next time
Do we have to
I'll
fight
stand
either?
further away from you next time.
All right.
Sorry.
I'm
No.
just gonna give Terra a thumbs up. No, you controlled it. You did a good job.
Are you alright, Simeon?
Oh, son of a
I'll
gun,
live.
I could have done that. I need to remember I have Aura of Protection.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, when conscious, all the paladin stuff lights back up again.
Mm-hmm.
There's that whole wind conscious problem, though.
Well, yes. Yes.
Definitely
both.
wind conscious.
Yeah, sleep doesn't count, but hey.
But worth a shot. Worth a shot.
It's more of a, I have way too much stuff I never remember until it's after the fact.
Yeah.
It doesn't help that we haven't played in quite a while.
That too.
Oh, all right, I'm gonna zonk back out, and
I
Clever's
think
just
we're all
gonna-
right. I think
It's
we'll
gonna find a patch of moss and just face plant into it.
Okay. Face planting into the soft moss in the clearing. And the rest of your second watch, after you all calm yourselves and return to bed, and there you kind of the adrenaline is wearing off. You're kind of doing a little bit of pacing, but the large brown bear, sort of the grizzly bear, scampering off into the forest, seems to have thwarted any other predators. The rest of your watch goes off without a hitch. When it comes to third watch, that is Clem. It's Clem, kind of Terra and Simeon. Just a couple hours before dawn, you wake up Clem for the final watch. And Clem, you kind of stand up and dust yourself off and prepare to take watch for the evening as Terra and Simeon retire to their bunks. Was there any last thing that Terra and Simeon wanted to do at the end of their watch?
Just when Simeon goes over to wake Clem up, he's definitely light on his feet this time around. Not saying just once bitten, twice shy, right?
Right.
No, Tara's just gonna once watch is over, she's just gonna do yoga or something to calm herself back down.
Perfect. All right. Terra doing the was it the serpent, the snake? Was that the archer back up or something like that? And then probably some dope monk shit, like one hand down and like using one hand to kind of sit crisscross applesauce with one hand kind of lifting her up off the ground. If you're a monk, you got to show off your acrobatics and your athletics a
Yup.
little bit. All right. So, Clem, as you kind of Tara does a little bit of yoga before retiring once again. And for the evening, go ahead and as you prepare your watch, go ahead and make a perception check and let me know if there's anything you wanted to do on your watch.
Nine.
Okay. So perception check from Clem.
Clem is probably preoccupied looking about this space and just really soaking in this feeling because he doesn't know when he'll be in an area like this again, at least for a while. He might wander around a bit, just trying to see if he finds anything else interesting about this place, snack on stuff a little bit, and just be in the moment.
Okay. All right. That's my stomach. It's rumbling. So,
is that another creature?
Yes, that was that was another strange forest creature. Rawr. What was your perception check?
A 9.
9. Roll a d100 for me. This is not a chart. It is a percentile. Okay, yeah, you're good. Throughout the course of the evening, you see kind of like as just before dawn starts to rise, just before dawn, kind of gazing into the darkness and in the wee hours of the morning, and you can kind of see something glistening, just this sort of shimmer. The moonlight kind of as the moon starts to get low in the sky, it illuminates something about 60 feet away from the campsite into the woods, this sort of sheen of sort of shimmering reflection, this sort of like thin, these sort of very silvery reflections about 60 feet away from the campsite.
immediately moves towards it.
Okay. You kind of move away from the campsite 60 feet into the woods, and as you get closer, you can see that there are these two trees that are kind of arched in over themselves, kind of forming like this, these two gnarled trees. And the way they bend in, they almost make about 12 feet across this sort of archway. And stretched across the archway of these trees is this very fine, very beautiful silken web that has been woven specifically as sort of like in between these two trees.
Okay. He'll get closer.
Okay.
And just investigate it, but not touch it just yet.
Okay. It's a...
Actually...
Mm-hmm.
He will use... With his nose, he will use one of his newer things, his magical awareness.
Mm-hmm.
Know the location of any spell or magic item within 60 feet. And when you sense a spell, you learn which school of magic it belongs to.
Ooh, okay. As you kind of... Is it a spell or an ability?
It's an ability from his
Okay.
Wild Magic Barbarian.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So no Wild Magic for that one.
Oh, you're no fun.
I mean, we can. I don't care.
An extremely potent web of magic immediately almost blinds you in front of you, as you can see this very high level conjuration magic that seems to very carefully be woven into this web, this sort of spiral. And you can see that the web pattern has, like, though it's imperfect on the outside, it has this perfect spiral of magic that is woven into the web itself. Hydrator dice straight. Thank you very much. No one wants to do that. Let's take a drink of our
Thank
beverages.
Speaking of, actually, I need to go refill my water. I'll be right back.
Oh, and posture check. Thank you. Refilling water hurt. Break coming up soon.
Conjuration magic with a almost perfect circle thing.
Like a spiral in the middle of it, yeah.
He's going to take out one of his fingers and lightly touch one of the webs.
Okay. As you do, your finger kind of like slowly starts to like almost meld into the web and disappears, does not come out the other side. You can see like ripples, like sticking your hand into water as you put your finger into the web. The web kind of like bends back and your finger kind of goes into it and disappears, as if, again, kind of like putting your finger into water.
And then he's going to pull his finger back and make sure it's not gone.
Okay, it's still there. Yep.
He's going to... Can I do some kind of like arcana or something to see if this might be like a gate or a fate crossing or something like that?
Yeah, make an arcana check at advantage. Stomach is really loud tonight. It's obnoxious.
Oh, he's no wizard. Oh, damn, I'm not even rolling my dice. Why am I using Roll20? Anyway. Roll20 failing me.
So well so far.
Because of your backstory, you have a feeling that this is fey magic of some kind. You at the very least know that. However, it has the structure of a gate, but knowing Fae, being from the Fae realm, you also know that it is very common for a Fae gate to not actually be a Fae gate and to actually be something else. And with your role of, it's early in the morning, dawn is it's just, maybe 20 minutes away from dawn, and there's that little bit in the back of your mind that it's Fae, but you're like, this might actually be a dangerous trap that might cut my body in half or something, or that might send me into the realm of an archfey that I'm not comfortable or familiar with. A little seed
This
of doubt
could send
creeps
me
into you.
anywhere.
Yes, exactly. It could send you anywhere, the nature of which eludes you. You have had interactions with, you obviously very important interactions with arachnid fey creatures, but with that 6, you've also known other fey creatures to mimic the signatures of others, and having this be sort of like first contact, that little seed of doubt is like, you actually know of a circumstance where another fey creature specifically mimicked the signature of another. You have an example of this, and caused another fey creature to be sort of trapped for several centuries, right, in this other portal. I don't know why my stomach is growling so much.
Clem is going to...
Could it be because you're hungry?
Oh, I ate earlier.
Clem is going to grin mischievously, thinking that if this is someone playing a prank, he's going to play a prank back on them. And he is going to make sure his other party members aren't awake to see this. And he's going to piss through the portal.
Okay, yep, you are the only one awake, and you do exactly that, and kind of give yourself a good old-fashioned laugh on the way as you do it.
And yeah, once he's done with that, he's just gonna walk away and hope that nobody knows who it was that did that, and he's just gonna continue his watch.
Somebody on the other side of
yeah.
the portal just had their worst day.
I can't wait to revisit that. That's gonna be
No!
freaking hilarious. I'm very much looking forward to that. Okay, so you kind of take a step back, and as you, very proud of yourself, the web starts to kind of slowly dissipate, and the silken threads kind of fall by the side, and there's just the 2 trees now. After about 5 minutes, the threads kind of slowly blend into the natural environment, and the gate, whomever was behind it, is no more.
Alright, well, at that rate, I guess he'll just move on to the next thing, just enjoying the rest of his watch, make sure nothing bad happened while he was meandering. Oh no, that was a tarot card? Oh god.
Yeah, that was a tarot card. That was the 2 of Fae, which I love this card. It's so pretty.
Oh
Yeah.
boy. Well, now I'm concerned. Anyway.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
And you also...
Yeah, he'll just go about and make sure nothing else happens.
And you also have a wild card. So the Wild Oracle, I'm going to set that aside. That's from earlier. So that's one of your earlier tarot card pulls. There's a couple of other things happening with the Mystic that we're going to revisit later. We had an immediate effect and then a secondary effect. But for the Wild Oracle, this is a wild card. So I'm going to set this aside. Everybody remember that you have a wild. You can discuss as a group if you want to re-roll any one roll. You have a wild card, so that is, it was upright, and the Wild Oracle is the wild, and it allows you essentially a re-roll at any point whenever you feel like it's appropriate. You can discuss as a group. And at that, as sunlight kind of rises up through the trees, and after a very eventful, very interesting night, full of a lot of interesting stories for many of you, sunlight breaks through the trees, and you all gain the benefits of a long rest, sleeping in with an incident, sleeping in a little bit longer, a little bit later, probably a little bit after 8:30 in the morning, early spring. It was a little chilly at night, but you're all able to collect your belongings, pack up, take down the camp, and proceed on your way for a very interesting day 2 of your journey as you progress back onto the Deadlands Road and head north towards your destination. And that's where we're going to take a break. So go ahead and take 10. Everybody will be back here at midnight. 10-minute break.
Cool.
Thank you, 10.
Back at midnight EST. So, okay. I told y'all it was going to be some good old-fashioned D&D.
Yeah.
So,
Old-fashioned.
it's a nice way to ease into a story is with some classic stuff. So,
Yep.
Go ahead and take a break, take 10, and we'll see everyone back here at midnight.
All right.
Okay. Be back soon. And okay, we're back. So, day 2. Day 2 of your travel begins, and you return to the road. Who would like to roll a d20 for the day?
I did it last time, so I encourage someone else to do it.
Rollers.
I got this
Rollers
one.
to see who does it. Oh, you got it. Go.
Okay, all right, Ange, go ahead.
9.
Okay, all right.
9 kobold bandits assault us.
I think we'd make short work of cobalt bandits.
The morning
Unintended?
sun.
They already are.
The morning sun is quickly covered by gray skies, and by mid-afternoon, a light drizzle starts to fall. Right around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, there's a distant rumble of thunder, and the rain begins to fall heavy. Are y'all doing anything to stay dry?
Just
uh,
prestidigering every so often.
Okay, all right.
Simeon will just flip his cloak on and pop the hood up.
Okay. A good old-fashioned hood is one way to deal with it. Also, all of your clothes are, that's the good thing about sort of period clothing, period pieces, is that the clothing, in that time period was very, very well made. Sort of mass-produced clothes like we have today isn't really a thing. So anything that you have on your person as far as clothing is probably going to be very well made. If not a bit worn, but still very well made. So even just popping your hood up or using prestidigitation, it's kind of miserable, but it's spring rain, and it's not a 6 or a 7, so it's bearable, tolerable, and it's just a little bit miserable for most of the day. The rain continues into the evening, and by this point, you do progress, but you are all very wet and probably somewhat miserable as night begins to fall. Who would like to take a peek for a potential campsite?
I will once again provide bardic inspiration to whomever is doing that.
Okay.
That's survival, right?
Oh, hang on, let me turn you back down. That is survival. Yep.
That is
I can-
not my
I
thing.
can do that.
Okay. As so the sun begins to set, Thamus, again, very damp Leonine, but the fur a little, it's like very eager to get out of the rain. So go ahead and make that survival check, please.
16.
Okay.
You
all
also
right.
have a D8 you can roll if you would like.
And ooh.
Might as well, no reason not to.
And they only last for 10 minutes anyway.
Also, group consensus: are you heading back into Ulcia Terras to the northeastern edge of Ulcia Terras, or are you now going to try the Watcher's Wood, or you and risk the rebel activity?
I still say we just follow the Deadlands Road.
With the bardic inspiration, it's a 20.
Okay. All right. Before we decide on a campsite specifically, let's go back to group consensus on into the edges of the Ulcia Terras forest or into the Watcher's Wood, or just on the side of the road for a campsite.
I figured we could just let it roll from last time into LCHRS.
Okay. all right.
Sure, why not? Be close to all this face stuff again.
Yeah. That was a tarot card. So
If we run into trouble on either side, if we run into trouble on the Deadlands Road and here in Ulcia Terras, it's not going to alert the enemy because it's different trouble. But if we're in the Watcher's Wood, we run the risk of our movements being reported back. And if we can avoid that, that would be beneficial, I think.
Yeah, plus I like the feeling of this forest anyway.
So, Thamus, you kind of hone in on this really large tree that kind of catches your eye from the road, and you kind of start to make a beeline for this really old, gnarled tree. It's about 100 feet or so off the road. You can see it very clearly from the road, and you can see sort of across the road and across the field into the other edge of the Watcher's Wood. But as you kind of get about 80 or 90 feet and start to turn around this old gnarled tree, you can see that it's about 20 to 30 feet wide at the largest part of the base, probably closer to 20 feet wide at the base, and kind of arcs out around, and it's sort of like hollowed out on the other side. It's an old decaying tree, and sort of there's this natural indentation and this natural hollow where all of you can rest comfortably. It's shielded from the road, only about 100 or so feet off the road, and it's not too far into the woods, and it's kind of a perfect area to shield yourself. And Thamus, you're also very proud of that, Tara, like you were the previous night. You and Thamus share a moment where we find good campsites. And as you kind of set up for the evening, now, you all start to get a little hungry. So for dinner, we have hunting and we have rations. And you all would have been able to restock and resupply. Everyone has a base of, you can all carry up to 10 rations. And you would have been able to resupply up to 10 as the army arrived. If you want to hand wave and say you use one of your rations, you all use rations for the evening, we could absolutely use rations for the evening. Or you can hunt. It's up to y'all.
Tara's fine with just using rations.
I think Clem would want to forage just because he'd be interested to see what's around.
If we're going through the Deadlands, it would be better for us to save the rations, just in case. Well, would I be correct in assuming there aren't very many animals in the Deadlands?
The Deadlands are sort of like this old haunted wood it's a meeting place between the worst of the creatures of Ulcia Terras, of the Watcher's Wood, and of the Crimson Wood kind of coalesce here. There are it's sort of like an old haunted woods. There is a bit of open patches where it's just sort of like deadland, right? Sort of like old marsh flats or sort of dry plains. But most of it is sort of like a large forest with lots of dead trees and some, animal graveyards, that sort of thing.
I stand by my point then. I think we should hunt or forage while we're in the area that would support it, because doing so in the Deadlands could be a problem.
That's fine.
Famous doesn't have a strong enough opinion to argue that.
Okay, Clem, you can make a survival check to go and forage and see what you can come up with. I'll say you can make the roll at advantage because there is a fey element to this forest. So go ahead and give me a survival at advantage
okay.
to forage specifically.
Between changeling abilities and musical talent, could I attempt to lure like a deer or something?
You can try. Make me a survival check.
Simeon,
I
get
got
ready
a
with that
12.
crossbow.
12. You find like a handful of sort of very what you know are toxic to eat, but you can make a tea out of a handful of sort of astringent red berries. It would be time consuming. But you can make a tea out of the handful of berries that you find. You have to strain them. The whole process would take about 2 hours. Make a good tea out of it, but that's about it.
I mean, if we got the time, sure, that'd be a thing I can do on my watch.
Okay, cool. All right, so that would assume also first watch.
Sure, yeah, because he very much wants to make a fragrant tea, because tea is good.
Okay. Yeah. So using some water from your canteens, Clem just begins to kind of returns with a handful of berries, a very large handful of these very small red berries, and immediately, rather than consuming them or preparing them, just starts. Oh, my stomach won't shut up. Just starts taking the berries and starts crushing them into a pouch, and sort of looks like he's beginning the process of making a tea of some kind. In the meantime, what was your survival check, Rin?
So I actually have a quick question about that before
Sure.
I roll. Am I looking at survival using my charisma modifier because it's like a performance-y thing? Or is it straight wisdom? Like, is it the wisdom modifier? Survival as the regular? Words are hard, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. It would be regular survival because that's kind of pushing the limits a little bit as far as
That's fair.
because it
No,
doesn't.
that's fine.
Yeah.
It's wooing nature. I get it. No worries.
Yeah.
I ask because I was going to cast enhance ability before I did this, and I wanted to. There it is. I wanted to flavor it correctly.
It's absolutely
So
something
before-
that you can do, but it's charisma itself is not going to necessarily attract an animal.
No, I get it. So Rin pulls out this this eagle feather and sort of like runs her thumb along the center spine of it and then tucks it back in her hair, and she starts at first just sort of softly singing, but eventually transitions into like deer noises, or tries to. I'm casting enhance ability to give me advantage on wisdom checks, and then rolling survival.
Okay.
All right, so that's a total of 18.
Okay. As you who has the longbow?
Simeon's got
Simeon has a
a
crossbow.
light crossbow.
Okay, all right. So Simeon and Ren get about 120 feet into the woods and kind of disappear off on a hunt. And in the meantime, you can see that Clem is starting to strain the berries right through this sort of very porous cloth, and seems to be mixing in some herbs into this as well, and is sort of using slowly straining some water through this cloth into a kettle. And it's a long process. It looks like, again, it should probably take about 2 hours. Those who stay up might be in for a treat. And you all have a little sugar that you can add to as part of like your field kits, right? So you can put some sugar in there and make it real sweet. But as you're kind of making this tea, you do see roll a d6 for me, Rin, to see what you attract. I know you said deer, but there's a few things in here, so roll a d6 for me.
That's a 5.
A 5. Yeah, it's sort of like a medium size female deer kind of starts to slowly kind of come towards the sound of your not a buck, you know, or something that you can really make jerky out of. It would probably be like a one and done to feed everybody type of thing. But yeah, a deer comes kind of slowly and curiously out of the woods. With a 5 or a 6, it would be a deer based on the, you know, and then a 6 would be a buck, and a 5 would be just a regular old normal sized deer. So you can see one kind of, yes, kind of slowly coming towards the sound of the loot. Simeon, if you would like to let fly the arrow and see if you can make some venison.
Let's see if we get dinner. 13.
It's likely, but I'm going to look it up. Here. 5. Here. 13 just hits, and as the deer kind of lets out this groan and the arrow strikes true, go ahead and roll damage.
6 damage.
That'll do it. Okay. And the deer kind of stumbles forward and then falls onto the ground. You've successfully hunted a deer on your second night in the wilds.
Nice.
Anybody know how to cook this thing?
Does any... Go ahead, Thamus.
I could justify with the soldier background. I probably could do some basic, not necessarily like 5-star quality stuff, but edible enough where we could have dinner.
Absolutely. Is anyone proficient in chef's tools, cooking utensils, mess kit, anything like that?
Nope. We're all a bunch of criminals and soldiers.
Yep.
Yep.
Excuse you, I am a bookworm. Thank you very much.
Oh, right.
I think there was probably a reason that the command was like, just take 10 rations, you know, a piece, just in case. So you have a deer, and that's actually pretty funny. You bring it back, and you're like, okay, now what? So Thamus.
I'll pull out a dagger and just start very very basic, just deconstruct. What's the word I'm looking for? Deconstructing it. Oh, I know.
Skinning
it.
Butcher?
Yeah. Butchering. Well, since you were in the military, I'll set the DC at 13. But go ahead and make a survival check, DC 13. And I think you have
assist?
what? I think you have advantage because of the if you want to use it.
I don't.
Is it survival or animal handling?
Animal handling is where I have
yeah,
advantage.
okay.
However, that's a 22.
Oh, okay. All right. Rin comes over to assist in some way, but Thamus is like, no, I watched more than a few people do this, and very, very skillfully. Is it dressing? Is that what it's dressing the?
That's what I was looking for.
Very skillfully starts dressing the deer, and within 45 minutes to an hour, the tea is almost ready, and you're very successfully able to, after having watched several other soldiers do it, during your time on the front lines in several battles of Frostfire, yeah, you're able to successfully get some fresh venison for the evening. So you all eat very well. Clem has prepared a special herbal tea, which is with a little bit of sugar. It's pretty tasty. It has this very sort of piney, almost gin-like flavor to it. Sort of this juniper berry flavor, but very tangy, very astringent. But with the sugar, it's kind of quite nice. In addition to the herbs and everything like that. But you have venison and sort of pine, juniper flavored herbal tea. And Clem is on first watch, right? Is anyone taking first watch with Clem?
I can take first watch with Clem.
Okay, all right. So, Rin and Clem, perception check for your first shift.
That is a
Clem
total
is
of 7.
Clem is using his Tides of Chaos again because he gets it on long rests.
Okay.
This time it's because of the tea itself. Just making the tea is kind of like a recipe that he remembers his mom making for him at one point.
Okay.
Something very similar. It just sparks him to be a little more, I guess, alert, aware, and kind of jovial.
Sure. All right. So Rin rolls a 7, and I'll set the DC. I'll make it a little easier for you with the T. Go ahead and roll perception at advantage, Clem.
Yeah. So he got a 12.
17
okay.
for the D20.
17. Okay. All right. All right. 17 on the D20. Yeah. So first shift passes without incident. Does anyone have a plan to do anything on the long rest?
I don't have any this day.
Nope.
Other than have some tea and hope his stuffiness goes away.
Okay.
Well,
all right.
I don't want to micromanage word counts every single time, but broadly, anytime we end the day and like Rin has at least 1/3 level spell slot left, she's gonna try to contact her dad again and just get any information she can about Barak Tal.
Okay. Okay.
Just bit by bit as we are traveling, try to get information.
Okay. Sounds good. We'll make that a sort of a collective piece of information, if that's kind of what you were getting at.
Yeah, that's exactly what
Okay.
I was.
All right, awesome.
That's what I was going for. Yeah.
Yeah, and
We don't have to
it's-
sit here and do like refrigerator poetry at each other for 2 more hours, but
refrigerator poetry. I
Yeah.
like that. Okay, so first watch passes without incident, and with your roll of 17, who's taking second watch?
I will.
Okay,
I'll take
Thamus.
the second watch with Thamus.
Okay, and Terra for third watch. Okay, all right. So perception checks from all three of you.
Got a 12 for Simeon.
9
Okay.
for Thamus.
And Terra?
13.
Okay, Thamus is delightfully aloof, and Thamus seems to be distracted with thoughts of perhaps the conversation that she had with Rin the night before. Other than Thamus being a little bit aloof for the night's watch, the rest of the evening passes without incident, and you're able to return for day 3 of travel. So you were fairly confident that no predators or nothing untoward was sort of seeking to pursue you or encroached on the camp. Thamus, you kind of caught yourself daydreaming a little bit or moon dreaming at the edge of the perimeter a couple of times, but beyond that, it's a relatively uneventful evening. The venison is delightful. It's perfectly seasoned. The tea gives you all an excellent night's sleep. Nothing seems to plague or invade your dreams otherwise, and you wake up to a brand new day. So, as you get back on the road for day 3, we're going to go ahead and move sort of one up a little bit closer to the Deadlands Road as you proceed onward. Move your tokens a little closer. Day 3, moving up the road, leaving Ulcia Terrasse behind you, traversing along the western edge of the Watcher's Wood. Could I have someone roll the d20 for the day, please?
I can hop on that.
Simeon. Yeah, do it.
That's a 5.
Okay. Sammy, can you roll a D100 for me?
I can roll you a D00.
It's a D100 worth of flumps that descend from the sky.
6.
What a shame you weren't going for a divine intervention.
Yeah, no kidding.
Unless I was, and I just didn't know about it.
We have to fight a god.
It's
No,
Lorik.
that's the
He's come back for more apples.
Okay, roll again.
No, that
actually doesn't
the
exist in
Heavens
this area.
Fire. Ha! The Heavens Fire game is the one that's going to be fighting a god eventually.
How about an 83? Uh-oh. It's the look again.
I'm sure it's fine.
Interesting. Okay. All right.
We've had 2 easy days so far. We're about due for a problem.
And on that note, have a good evening. We'll see everybody next month.
It's interesting. It's not something that would really be a threat on the road during the day, so we're gonna come back to that. We're gonna put that in our pocket and come back to that. Something lurks, but not something that would catch you on the road, so to speak, if that makes sense. But aside from those rolls, as you make your way to the edge of the Deadlands, to your right, to the east, you can still see the edge of the Watcher's Wood. Okay, the forest, it's kind of very close to the road. And the safety of the Watcher's Wood, it's not full of rebel activity as far as military contingents, but there are, at least on the western edge, known to be rebel scouts. So it's possible that you might run into a rebel scout or something of that nature. But there are also agents of the crown that operate in the Watcher's Wood, and there are several religious and monastic orders that also operate in the Watcher's Wood. Usually clerics, monks, and priests of the Wild Mother. Many druids, many who serve Lineria, the Twilight Spinner, as well, and some sects of Mercidial, the Twilight Spinner, or the Dark Sister, sorry. So there are several religious orders that operate in and around the Watcher's Wood, and usually keep rebel scouts at bay. But you do know that there is both crown and rebel activity in and around the Watcher's Wood, though the Deadlands can be a particularly dangerous place. And as you can see the edge of the Deadlands forest approaching just past midday, so probably closer to 4 or 5 in the evening. Looking to your east, the edge of the Watcher's Wood, at the closest point, is about 120, maybe 200 feet from the road, as it kind of bends out west and kind of creeps out that way. And as you reach about 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening, you start to see, not really doing much to try and mask their presence, a single individual that starts to make their way out of the tree line to the east from the Watcher's Wood and just starts walking towards the group.
Are they wearing anything or showing anything that would indicate who they might be affiliated with, or?
So they're wearing sort of all black leathers with maybe some dark greens. They appear to be a half elf with sort of raven hair, and they have a bit of a limp, like a from a wound, and they kind of hold up their arm as if to kind of flag you down. Other than that, there is no identifying symbol, but they are making their presence known, and they do not have a weapon in hand. They have a longbow slung over their shoulder.
If
Do
they're
we all see them?
Yes, you can all see them. They're not trying to hide in any way. They're making themselves very obvious.
If they're visibly hurting, Thamus will go over and kind of try and see what's going on and if she can help.
Rin will approach with Thamus as well.
Be careful, it could be a trap, kind of.
As on that note, actually, as we're approaching, can I do a perception check to see if anyone else is around?
Sure, perception check on the general surroundings. Go ahead, Red. Thamus, you kind of hustle on over there.
Yep.
It's not too bad. It's a 14.
Okay. All
Simeon
right.
will hang back and sort of keep an eye on the area.
Same with Tara.
So Tara and Simeon kind of hang back a little closer to the road. Thamus kind of double times over. Rin getting a little bit closer. Rin, what did you roll again? For your perception check?
I rolled a 14.
14 total?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
I'm also going to slowly approach, just kind of at the ready in case things go bad.
Okay. All right. You do not see anything else around you other than the eerie silence from the Deadlands and the lush bounty of the Watcher's Wood. Thamus, you kind of run up and you can tell almost immediately that there is no new wound. There seems to be sort of a lingering wound as you kind of get within 5 feet, and they sort of feminine presenting individual, it's okay, I'm fine. It's about a year old. It'll never fully heal.
What happened?
As
What
you
brings you here?
as you all kind of make your way over, she laughs and she just now that's a loaded question. You're Stormwatch, right?
That depends on who you are.
Thamus just kind of just gives doesn't respond and just instead repeats, "What happened? What brings you here?"
She says, "Crash," which you all know is the military code, which is the identifier like flash thunder. It's crash thunder, and the callback is thunder. Thamus, you immediately know that.
Mhm.
Yeah, more than the other four might have to double check as they're recently new, but you know exactly what she is saying. So she says, "Crash," at which the appropriate response is thunder.
Okay. Respond.
Okay, and she just, "So you are the Stormwatch. Good." And she kind of starts to rummage with one hand in her pouch, just kind of like rummaging through. Eventually takes out an emblem, a new emblem that you saw on the crest of Soraka Rendiel. It is the two-headed eagle, except it's stylized more in draconic fashion. So it's the two-headed eagle of the queen, of the new queen's flag, but they are dragon heads on either side. The symbol of the Dragon Accord, which is the elite special forces, the sort of that answer directly to the queen. There's only about a dozen, maybe 24 of them. The Stormwatch is the elite branch of the military. This is the elite branch of sort of black ops that work directly and only answer to the queen. Usually pretty nasty stuff. And Soraka Rendil is one of them. But he's a mage. She doesn't appear to be a mage.
So, what are you doing out here by yourself? And why are you approaching us?
She just kind of lets out another chuckle and just takes the badge and tosses it down on the ground. She says, "Tell Arundel I'm done. Tell the Dragon Accord I'm done. Tell the Queen and the Stormwatch that the mission was a success. But I never signed up for anything like that. I never signed up for what happened after. It's done."
Can you tell us a bit more about your mission and what you dealt with?
She just kind of, I think you know, and just kind of gathers
I,
her
as a player,
things.
have no idea what she's talking about.
Y'all might not know. But-
Famous is probably is not 100% certain. Ideas, sure, but
Yeah.
Clem is immediately thinking about what Nazgris was talking about,
So,
which is the stuff that he said that they're going to do. Pretty horrific stuff, potentially.
she says, a year and a half ago, in the aftermath that followed, none of us knew that it was going to be that bad. Tell the Queen and Arundel that they got what they wanted. They got their villain. And I'm done. She just kind of starts to walk away.
What's your name?
She turns around and over her shoulder. Marissa. Our dragon, Marissa Vaelith. And I'm officially retired.
Our dragon.
Can you give me the spelling for her last name?
Vaelyth.
Thank you kindly.
And I'm done with this war. I'm done with the crown.
Lay low as much as you can.
we are all done with this war.
I'm going to Grey Marsh, to a little fishing village, be with my family. I did my duty. Soraka Rendil got his villain. The rest of the crown can rally to the Queen. Whatever you do, end it quickly. Nobody
is the
deserved what
intention.
happened. And she looks over at Thamus. You got anything for, like, long-term scarring?
Would lay on hands work for that?
I would say roll a D100. I would say roll a D100.
Do you have any maps of the area or any information that we should know about this path, particularly to the Crimson Wood?
Just take that badge with you. Use it to identify yourselves. If you run into our cousins in the Crimson Wood. Even before we completed our mission, the war was still growing raw on both sides. She kind of leans in. Folks of Easildale have a particular distaste or hatred for our cousins in the Crimson Wood. They have a particular penchant for violence. And our cousins there have responded in kind. So make sure to identify yourselves as agents of the Crown, lest you be felled with arrows the second you step foot into their territory, or have a blade cut your throat in the dead of night.
Unnecessary violence. This has got to stop.
Agreed. So
77
Mm.
on the D100.
yeah, you're looking for low. So you can. If you put 5 points of lay on hands in, it will get her through the next few days at the very least, so she can catch a ship.
I will do that.
Okay, so you let go some of the magic in your hands, and you can see her you hear a couple of cracks and a couple of pops, and she just, and as she readjusts, she just, okay, that helps. Kind of
Here.
puts a hand on your shoulder, kind of just taps it a couple times.
Rain roots around in her pack for a second and then pulls out what looks kind of like a small wooden box, small-ish. Try to hide your features as much as you can. You never know if they might end up looking for you later. I would like to give her. I started with a disguise kit. I think it was part of the bard's starting equipment.
Sure.
So,
Right.
Rin is giving her this disguise kit in the hopes that she can hide her appearance and travel more safely.
Okay. Yeah, you kind of hand her the disguise kit, and she just, standard issue, huh?
Yeah, a bit more useful for others than it is for me. And as Rin is saying that, there's this sort of like flutter of illusory butterflies for a second, and her appearance from the shoulders up transforms into Melissa in front of us, and then another flutter of butterflies, and it transforms back to her normal human form.
Changeling.
It's been pretty useful so far. Just keep your head low.
You too. I know this is that we've grown war weary on both sides. But the things that we've done stop the war. I hope it'll be worth it in the end.
So long as we end the war. In the end, all of our actions, all of our sacrifices will have been worth it.
I think the world that we build after the war is what's going to determine its worth.
One last might and majesty for the road, huh?
Might and majesty.
Might and majesty.
Rin says with like a touch of sarcasm.
Might indeed.
Might and majesty indeed. Famous, just very dry.
Might for sure. Majesty? I guess we'll see. She just kind of... I'm looking forward to fishing. And just as she kind of adjusts to the healing and kind of makes her way back towards the road, she turns and gives you all one last salute. Night begins to fall, and you prepare to set up camp as she fades into the distance. And that's where we're going to end the session for tonight. You prepare to make your way into the Deadlands. Ending a little early,
fully intend to tell her superior that she is dead, that we found her corpse.
Fair enough. I'm here for that. So I know some of y'all are not feeling well. My stomach is very angry at me because I had jalapenos before a stream, which I will never do again. So let's go around the table and just tell everyone in Internet Cyberville what we have going on and what projects we're working on and where the people of the internet can find you. We're going to work in reverse order this time. So we'll start with Jeff. What you got going on and where can the people find you?
Alrighty. Well, I'm Fathagan on TikTok, and you can also go ahead and find me on the Discord here with the rest of the folks at ESPTTRVG. Go ahead and drop that in the chat there. And otherwise, look forward to seeing you all next time around. We play Stormwatch.
Awesome. Thank you, Jeff. And Avalon Willowbloom, what you got going on in your world?
Not much by way of impending projects. I will be rehearsing and recording for Karen 1% in the near future. It's a black, it's a musical audio drama about a black woman navigating a like corporate fuckery. And it is run by it's just words are hard. Fuck's sake.
Words are
I
hard.
can't summate this as well as I want to. Karen 1% is coming in the near future. Aside from that, Super Suits is currently publicly releasing. Episode 2 just dropped on the various podcast platforms today, and subsequent episodes will be every 2 weeks on Mondays. If you subscribe to the Faustian Nonsense Patreon, you will get them on Fridays instead. You will get them 3 days early. I know how to math. Otherwise, I don't know, keep your eyes open. I do stuff. I get around. I'm here twice every couple weeks.
Rad. All right, thanks, Avalon. And Nick.
Nick, Huskier Amberthist, playing Clem over here on this one, so every other Monday. Otherwise, every Friday, I'm on Precarious' channel playing a halfling barbarian rogue who is up to similar chaotic shenanigans. And yeah, other than that, just chilling and hanging out with all of y'all.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Nick. And Ange.
Well, I'm here every other Monday. Beyond that, as far as tabletop role playing goes, I have an once a month. I am on Records of the Realms, playing a half rogue, half four elements monk. Lots of silly fun, and I'm playing basically almost the complete opposite of Themis. And then I have my anime podcast every Sunday over at Animazing Radio. So if you like anime, check that out.
Awesome. Thanks, Ange. And I'm looking forward to podcasting with you in the future. I know we got something in the works. And...
Yes, definitely.
All right. And Isabeth, I know you're very busy, so you
Oh
have a
my
long
gosh, my
list. Take it
schedule,
away.
yes. My schedule has exploded. I'm here every other Monday for Stormwatch. Every Sunday I am at Master of Rem for Light Clockwork. You can find me anywhere you listen to podcasts. If you look for the Alternia Archives, right now they are releasing our Power Rangers podcast, actual play, 1 episode a week. I have a couple other podcasts that I'm currently recording that will be released throughout the coming year. Tomorrow, during the day, I will be at Master of Rem for the Subversion Kickstarter from Fragging Unicorns. I will be doing the launch day stream for that. I will also be on Lucas G Variety in the afternoon or in the evening for another Power Ranger stream. And then starting next month, every other Wednesday, I will be on Master of Rem playing Power Rangers. And every other Friday, I will be there doing Well of the Worlds, which is an isekai superhero cool actual play stream. So,
Wow,
yeah,
that's
me.
a lot. Yeah. Thank you, Isabeth. And Isabeth's link tree is there in the Discord, in the chat. And also you can join our Discord as well. If you're queer or if you're a witch or any of those things, you can come check us out and hang out with us and other queer witches who love TTRPGs. In the meantime, we love you all very much. We're going to raid Mad Bird streams. So be gay, be queer, do crime. We're going to say hello to our friends over at Mad Bird. And we'll be back here this Saturday for Heaven's Fire, which I'm very excited about. Heaven's Fire, back from break, and there's a lot going on there. There's intrigue and it's 220 years in the future, and we get to see sort of the result of, what the Our Dragon Accord becoming the era to call, and the end result of all that. All
I
that
actually have a
fuckery.
quick question regarding that.
Sure.
I don't recall if it was stated before, but is it the same queen?
Yes, same queen.
Fantastic.
All right, so we'll see y'all over at Madburn, and we'll see you this Saturday at 9:15 for Heaven's Fire. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.